Hi, everybody. It's me, AV. Welcome back to my YouTube channel where we talk about all things law, true crime, and a bit of debauchery.
Stop the cap.
So today, what we are doing, a lot has been coming out about the Diddy series on Netflix. So I thought I'd pop on here. We've done episode reviews where we've done a reaction to episode 1, a reaction to episode 2. 3 is about to be in the can, and 4 as well. But I wanted to check in with you guys towards the end of the week. Wish you an awesome holiday season. I hope you guys are all getting ready for the holidays. But also, I did want to jump into a little bit of tea because y'all know what we do. Little bit of tea, little bit of legal, and we break it down for the everyday people. So today I'd really like to jump into some recent dealings with 50 Cent, because 50 is doing what he's doing. We're going to talk about it. And there is a big key to this story, right? This Netflix documentary has come out, but there's a big key to this story that's not coming out. And it does involve Cassie and a gentleman named Clayton Howard. And this morning, I swear to God, chat, I went into like a rabbit hole researching and I found all these documents and I'm like, oh my God, this is not in the documentary, but it's still out here. So if you are following along with the documentary, and if you're in the chat, do me a favor, put a 1 in the chat if you've watched it. Put a 2 in the chat if you're interested, but you're like, I don't know. It's, you know that voice. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh my God, AB, it's like 4 episodes. I don't have time for that. But maybe this weekend when I'm doing laundry and all that, because I'm not here doxing law and crime, but I can watch this on the weekend.
You have that person. So catch up with us. We're going to catch up. And if you've watched it already, I see a majority of 1s. Nurse Janice is a 2. I see a little bit of 1s. So most people have caught up with it already. So my 1s, you're going to know what a lot of this context is before we get into it. And even for my 2s, as we jump in, you're going to learn a lot here today, right? Because I'm telling you, shout out to 2 Minute Approved. I'm telling you, I went down the rabbit hole this weekend. I was like, oh my God, does chat know about this? Are we going to get another lawsuit? Are we going to get more? There's so much going on. But thank you guys for being here, hitting the like button as you jump in. And there's a lot to go through. So the first thing that I want to do as I say hello to most of you is if you have not seen The Reckoning on Netflix, I have done a reaction to episode 1 and episode 2, but we're doing this live stream in the middle so you guys can catch up. I want to look at 50 Cent's unredacted interview on Good Morning America that was released this morning. So it's about 20 minutes long. I want to do a live reaction with you guys. I haven't seen all the footage. Some of it I do need to mute because of copyright issues, right? But we are going to listen to what 50 Cent and the director had to say when they were on Good Morning America. After that, Clayton Howard, we're going to talk about him. Okay, Clayton is a key to this story. Allegedly, he has a lawsuit out against Cassie. Cassie's getting sued. I looked at the docket this morning. I saw new filings this morning. I said, Cassie's getting sued. And then I went down the rabbit hole on the Art of Dialogue and these other places. And some of y'all were in chat trying to tell me, you were like, AV, no, listen, Cassie liked it. She was into it. And then I started digging. I said, whoa, what do we have here? So it's not public speculation. You guys know I only bring you guys legal documents. So we're going to review Clayton's account of the story, but I pulled Clayton's original lawsuit and it is pretty juicy. So we're going to look at all of that together. And I'm not even going to hold you. I'm not going to save the surprise for the end. Cassie lawyered up today. Cassie lawyered. Why did Cassie need a lawyer? Why does Cassie's lawyer enter the docket? So this whole thing, I was like, I can't put this in a video. It's too much. I just got to go live and we can all look at it together. I can't believe Cassie lawyered up today, chat. Why? You know, I was about to do some fun videos. I'm like, oh yeah, ASAP Rocky and ASAP Relly, that case is coming out. I just got, some new Fenty lipstick. I'm going to review it, all of the things, got a little Fenty lip gloss going on with the lip liner and all that, the Fenty glow. I was like excited to do like a little fun video, but I had to stop because this is too crazy. It's too crazy. All right, chat, strap in. Let's go in. I'm not even going to waste time. Let us go first to 50 Cent on Good Morning America. The day before the documentary dropped, I believe it was December 2nd or 3rd, this Good Morning America interview came out. We only had 5 minutes of it. Now we have the full 25 minutes, and some things come up about how they got the footage in the first place. I had put that in my reviews of the documentary so far. Roger Bonds was saying that the way that they got the footage was, y'all gonna love this, Puffy was making his own documentary. And that's why this videographer was following him around 6 days before the arrest. Then the person that shot the documentary was working with another person. Now, I'm going to tell you in a second. But the way it was obtained is Puffy got locked up and he didn't pay the guy. So that footage was up for grabs. It was up for grabs. It was up for payment. Now, the person that held the camera, it is my understanding that they were not the ones that transacted with other people that wanted to purchase the footage. But like, think about that. Diddy was making his own documentary because he thought he was going to get off. So let's go back in. Let's see the Good Morning America footage that is extended. And again, I am going to be sensitive here because of the music. But it looks like 50 here is wearing some khakis and a blue blazer, right? Let's just make sure there's not music here.
The docuseries is entitled...
A little bit of music, but I think I stopped it right here. This is the producer of the doc right here. She's brilliant. I have grown to really like her creativity. But let's jump on in and see what they have to say. The first question is, how's the documentary different from others that we've seen before? This is posted on Good Morning America today. This is the extended version of the interview. Let's go in.
To putting into the making of the film, doing our due diligence to get the right voices, to the table. This is a series that spans over 30 years. So just by covering that much time, it took a lot of time for us to dig in and to kind of make sense of this story and to put this timeline together.
Yeah, and there's like some never before seen footage that I'm going to talk to you about in just a moment. But Curtis, people know about this very public, long
Curtis
feud
with the khakis.
Sean Combs. So what brought you to this project?
Well, I just want to make really...
It's so funny because like 50's on his best behavior in this. Look at him. He's on his best behavior. He's like, I'm here. I'm in my khakis. All right, I'm here. I'm doing my thing. I just want to tell you about this, how I got involved in it. But we're watching. We're watching you, Fifth. We're watching you, 50. Let's keep going.
Hit television. I like the idea of it being exciting, and I picked this project and started working on it about 5 months before I found Alex, and I know that she has the artistic integrity that it would take to make it a great project, and there's a the Quincy Jones era of production is
Mm-hmm.
find me that bass player because he's the baddest man out there in Chicago, and find me that keyboardist and fly them in from Miami, and we put them in and have the greatest jam session they ever heard, and it just always resulted in great and hit music. And I take that concept into television production.
You take that into everything you do, sir.
That's right.
You really do. And it really comes through, and appreciate that about you. As I said, never before seen footage of the days leading up to his arrest. Can you just talk a little bit about, was there anything that surprised you from that footage?
The footage, well, I mean, I think it's rare to find someone who's being, talked about all over the country. All eyes were on him, so to speak. And it was really interesting to see his last days of freedom, and what was sort of important to him. Obviously, there's phone calls with his attorneys, with his team. It was very interesting to watch a man who's known for his brand presence. He has a really amazing knack for marketing and all of that, and how he was sort of taking that into account in how he was coming off to the public, in the days leading up to his arrest and indictment. So that was interesting. It was also just interesting to see how laid back he was at times. But, the footage also, in the footage, we also see how he's getting incoming, lawsuits are dropping, and to get his real-time perspective on that was sort of jaw-dropping when we first got our eyes on the footage.
Was there anything that surprised you when you were watching the footage?
No, it didn't surprise me at all.
Because you've known him.
Yes.
Yeah.
See, Curtis, listen, we're going to lean into the Cameron Curtis thing, because this is what I have discovered today as I was scripting everything for y'all, as I was researching everything for y'all. I'm like, 50 is so brilliant at leaving breadcrumbs for real researchers. Because I was doing my script for episode 3 and how I was going to, look at my notes and compare it with you guys for episode 3, how I can add new things that have come out this week about episode 3. And I was like realizing that 50 was just leaving breadcrumbs if you know where to look. There's a little bit of shade throughout the whole documentary. And we're going to talk about Clayton in a second. And I don't mean Clayton Bigsby. Clayton Dave. His story is serious. His lawsuit is serious. When they were talking about, this is how sick 50 is with it. Because I don't think this is the woman that's on the screen. I think this is 50. If you really know where to look, you can spot the pettiness in the documentary. Because, there's this rumor going around about how Diddy to collect semen and rub it on himself. And it's I don't know. Right? Clayton's story is the heart of the semen. I mean, it's so gross. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about what happened with the semen after it was collected, because there's a big dispute about that. And that Cassie was collecting it. We're going to look at the law documents and it'll tell a better picture of it. But I was just okay, this is a lot. This is a lot. But you can see it. Curtis is smiling. He's just you don't even know. The reason why I brought that up is because there was a point in the documentary where the discussion about the semen was happening in episode 3. And this is 50's thumbprint. The next thing you see is a Ciroc commercial, and it's Diddy and Cassie saying, "Me and my girl like to celebrate on Friday nights. You know what we do? We drink Ciroc." Then it cuts back to this gentleman yeah, they were collecting my semen in cups and they like to drink it. I'm like, oh God. So you can tell that even though 50 Cent is not exactly in it, you can see his thumbprint throughout. And what we saw in season 1, because allegedly there's a season 2 coming and it's going to be on YouTube. Okay. There's a new season coming on YouTube. I'm like, he's just unlocking it because once it's on YouTube, then I can react with no problem. Then all the YouTubers can react with no problem. John Diddy Combs is talking about Instagrammers and TikTokers. I'm like, oh, you want to bring it to YouTube? Oh, we can react to it live? It's going to be so crazy, chat. I just think that this is the beginning. And, you know, I paid attention to this case last year. But I do think in these next few months, after what I'm about to show you, what I found this morning, it's going to be everywhere. So shout out to Curtis. All right, let's go back in to this part because Curtis is going in. I mean, and he's so smug about it. He's happy. He's measured. He's not giving you everything. He's just giving you a smidge, but really pay attention.
Behaviors. And I think it was surprising that he actually filmed it.
Yeah, and I want to ask about that because how did you go about getting the footage? And do you know the intent of the videographer? Why?
And look at the smile. He knows.
She's a journalist, right?
Yeah.
So she's not going to reveal her sources. So you don't have to reveal that.
This is what I mean. He knows what he's doing. He spots the questions. He's just like, all right, she's a journalist. And 50's prepping his director like, no. No. This is how this works, right? She's not going to reveal her sources or anything. Let's talk about it. Because he saw where she was going with the questions. This is so interesting to watch, chat. Let's go back a little bit.
You go about getting the footage, and do you know the intent of the videographer? Why he or this person took the footage?
She's a journalist, right?
Yeah.
So she's not going to reveal her sources, so you don't have to reveal that.
Yeah. Not going to reveal my sources, but I think that partnering with someone like 50, it was very much in the universe as to what we were doing.
It's a lot easier to get it.
And you alluded to this, Alex, because watching the footage, and you're like, does he know he's on camera here? Like he's going back and forth with his team a lot, and you could tell at one point he was wanting people to change their opinion of him, and he was very clear about it. Just can you talk a little bit more about that part of the footage?
Yeah, I mean, I think that hopefully when you watch the film again, because it spans so much time, you understand that this is a man who's very comfortable in front of cameras. You know, he was a reality star, and kind of at all points of his life, it seems as though he always had somebody following him with the camera. When you have that kind of power and everything, you know, I'm going to edit this. So I'm going to have the luxury of being able to.
Well, see, that's the other thing that was unreleased in the first GMA footage, right? Like now we're getting the full conversation between Good Morning America and Alex and 50. But when asked about how they obtained this footage, we'll talk about it again. Like I told you guys already that Roger Bonds explained that it was the production team that followed Diddy that ended up ultimately selling it to 50. But the issue here becomes Diddy was trying to do his own documentary because he thought he was going to beat the case. He really did. Now, the other issue here is, Curtis is doing a really good job shielding it. Like, we're not going to tell you what our source is. You're going to have to figure that out. You have some source, because obviously if Good Morning America received that information, they got it from somebody, right? Somebody told them that the way that this footage was obtained was different. And it really could have been through the whole Netflix cease and desist that we knew was coming, that Diddy had filed against Netflix. Netflix has a department, like not even just 2 or 3 lawyers. They have a department of lawyers, and they're like, yeah, listen, this was illegally obtained. We've already prepped what we're gonna say about this, but there's season 2 coming. There's a season 2 coming. Let's go back in and see what else they have to say here.
Take out what I don't want and leave in what I want. And I think, there's a line in the film in the last episode where he says, everything is about controlling your narrative. And that to me is a big takeaway of who Sean Combs is, or who he wants you to believe that he is. So it became very interesting to understand, like, when was he, you know, performing for camera, and then when the moments in that footage where I feel like he was so preoccupied with what was actually happening in real life that he forgot that the cameras were there.
Because he was reaching out to people.
Absolutely.
He was reaching out to people saying, hey,
Absolutely.
I need some help here.
Yeah. And that's, you know, I think when you hear about allegations in the news and when you hear about things that are going on, I think there was a lot of confusion, you know, at that time as to what's real, what's not. And I think that, you know, this is an opportunity for people to see what was really going on.
The exclusive video also shows Combs in Harlem greeting.
Okay. So we just did a big jump right there, right? Because I think that there's an excellent point that gets skipped over with the documentary is, okay, you have to think about the purpose of why it was filmed. Sean hired those people. He wanted his side of it, 6 days leading up to his arrest. And there's a lot of banter going on online right now about Diddy's lawyer being recorded without his knowledge or consent. You know, a lot of states are two-party states, and that's where I am in Massachusetts, is you need consent from both parties to record a conversation. And you guys know these things, you know, now with your phones, if you accidentally record people, it will tell them, right? There's no more surprise gotchas. You have to tell somebody that you're recording them. And usually people hit the button with their cheek or whatever, and they're like, oh, my bad, I'm really not trying to record you. But some people still do those recordings. Now with Diddy, the other thing, and I just got off the phone with one of my friends from Harlem, okay, who was in the music industry. And I'm like, hey man, I'm gonna go live, I'm gonna talk to my people, but I also need to record my reaction to episode 3 tonight. And I did think it was strange that not only did Diddy bring this person into the hotel room so he can talk about the lawsuits, Dawn from, you know, Dirty Money coming in, all of these things coming in, watching his reaction to things, recording the lawyer that technically just saved your life, all of those things, we're gonna document it. We just want you to follow us around. But then he went to Harlem, all right? And this is the thing, follow the breadcrumbs. Why was Jim Jones in one of the clips? But it's Harlem, right? Jimmy and Puffy are cool. So they're hanging out in front of the project, smoking pot. And then you see the clip of Puffy saying, oh, I just had to say hi to all these people. I need to take a bath. I need to bathe myself in water. Put some oil in it. He didn't say that. But I need to wash this all off of me. It was so wild. It was so wild. So we go from, in this Good Morning America thing, how did you get the footage? We know the answer came from a videographer. They didn't discuss that in this particular interview, but Roger Bonds, and I did this in episode 2, Roger Bonds confirmed how 50's team got a hold of it. Here's the big part. It ain't just, you know, 4 episodes worthy. It's not just Sean walking around in the hotel room. It's 140 hours of footage. Diddy fucked up by not paying this guy for 140 hours of footage. And do you know what 50 said he was going to do? He's going to put it on this platform. This one, YouTube. You know, YouTube just made it, they just implemented a new thing for content creators like me, for reaction people. Now we could react without copyright strikes. 50 knows what he's doing. He said, we're putting it on YouTube. 140 hours. So this footage we're watching right now, we just saw a tiny portion of what actually exists. And like Alex was just saying, if he knew he was being recorded and being watched and doing all these things, but at the same time, if you're also good at placing things and you have a producer mindset like you did in the freak offs, oh my God, Chad, this year is about to be crazy. Hey, Jamie, good to see you, Jamie. Let's go back in, because now we talk about Harlem and how he said he was so disgusted with meeting fans that put money in his pocket or whatever that he needed to take a bath.
Fans.
Off my back, bro. Lord, you win. I'm gonna win. Lord, you win. Be with it. I'll accept it. I need.
And
I got.
Here we go.
Down the streets amongst the people. Yeah, I gotta take a bath. Like the amount of people that actually I'm coming in contact with. Like that's what I have to do. You know what I'm saying? Oh.
And he's on the phone, chat. He's on the phone. He's talking to somebody. The videographer is in the trunk of this Suburban. All right. Diddy's like, oh, I was just in Harlem shaking hands and saying hi to everybody. I got to take a bath, like boiling hot water.
It's like 150 hugs.
And you saw him going out and meeting his fans, and you're a public person as well. And there was one instance in Harlem, and his reaction when those people
Went away.
went
Got in
away.
the car and said, I feel like I need to wash. Like that was it show you his character.
Was that the reason
I
for
can't,
including it?
50.
Yeah, I mean, and what's the odds that you would do that? I feel like a character.
I need to wash.
Like that's one of the moments where he forgot he was on tape. You know what I'm saying? And then gets back in the car and goes, I feel dirty. I need to just go sanitize myself.
The 4-part series also features 2 jurors from Combs' trial who are speaking for
All right, there's music. But yes, 2 jurors from Diddy's trial did speak out in the documentary. If you have not seen it, they caught him, or at least they found him guilty on 2 charges, but not the most serious charges. Let's see if they still have music here.
5 describing them.
Okay, they're still talking. So 75 was the Indian guy who's in the dock, and 160 was the Black woman.
Out in front of a jury of his peers, and you included a couple of jurors. Was there something that stood out to you about how they perceived what happened in court and what they learned about him?
I think, the jurors felt that they did the right thing. I think that they were very comfortable in, the decisions that were made. But I think that the goal of what the film is trying to do is to let the audience kind of come in to ask questions like, in a trial where there's so much media coverage, before, during, and after, were their decisions, colored by certain things, and who got the benefit of the doubt, in that courtroom? And it seems as though Sean Combs received the benefit of the doubt.
It was pretty aggressive. Like the government came 3 different agencies at one time: Miami, LA, New York, raided all those places. You'd think that something extreme had happened.
You guys heard from people or had people that the media, we asked, they were like, don't want to talk to us.
Yeah.
But sat down with you all. Why do you think that was the case?
Me.
Curtis!
It's a lot easier to do it because you feel like they know that I don't mind taking on the responsibility of it. Like, they're being the truth. He's not going to be afraid. They're like, 50 will just let my story be my story and not be afraid to change it.
But there are also some people that feel or want to know, and how do you respond to people who say that it's more about the disdain that you have for Sean Combs than it is for giving the victims a platform?
Let's talk about this part. And he's already, look at his hand. 50's hand's already raised. He knew the question was coming. He was prepped for it. He's just like, this new media, lady. Let me tell you about new media. They didn't come to you. They came to me. They came to this documentary. They were open to talking to us instead of talking to you. Let's see what 50 has to say here as far as an explanation of his involvement being the executive producer on the doc.
What they consider a pre-existing beef, right, for 20 years, right, is me being uncomfortable with him suggesting that he takes me shopping. And it's not personal. This is why it never resulted in me doing anything to him or him doing anything to me.
And Cassie wasn't interviewed, but I mean, she's prominently figured in the series. How did you want to portray their relationship?
Well, just to piggyback just really quickly on what he's saying, because I think it's important to also let people know that the show is not completely the perspectives of people that did not like Sean or people that were, anti-Sean or people that had grievances, with Sean. There are also people that are in the series that still consider him to be a friend, still consider him, to be like a family member. And I think for those people, when you ask, the reason for them wanting to sit down, I think obviously 50's involvement put a certain stamp on the project, but I also think that the filmmaking team behind it, there was an opportunity for them to really go into great details about their story and to be heard. There were lots of conversations before we even started rolling, tape. And I think that it became very obvious to most people that we weren't trying to just get the highlights, the salacious details, that the real goal was to storytell. And not everyone needed to have an allegation to be a part of this project. And I think that was what made people feel like this is a much more encompassing, project than just a series that's just based on allegation after allegation.
So let's talk a little bit more about Cassie and is she a victim?
So now they switch topics, and that is going to be a core of today's stream because, I'm bringing you guys the legal documentation when it comes to Clayton Howard's story. I will remind you who Clayton Howard is. He was in episode 3. He was featured in episode 3 of this Netflix Diddy doc. But there's some movement in the case that he has against Sean Combs, but he also has listed Cassie as one of the defendants here. So we're going to take a peek at that as well. About 10 minutes left to go, and then we'll transition to those documents.
All this.
I believe Cassie's a victim of all this because she came in she's like 18, like 19 years old in the very beginning. So she only knows that. After a while, over time, you condition for it.
I think that without having an interview with her, I think that she was someone that was really important to bring up with other people that were witness or were around during her relationship with Sean Combs. I wanted her truth and her perspective to be a part of the fabric of the series, and as much as I could weave in, I think that it was really important to us to make sure that people remembered the age that she was and the context of where she was in life when she met Sean Combs. I think when you have a trial and you're talking about something that happened 15 or 20 years ago, she's now a married woman, she's a mother, she's in a completely different place. I think that people forget, especially when it comes to women, like who they were when these allegations were formed. And in that
Alex is actually making a really good point because I saw this interview this morning and then I went back to episode 3 and comparing my notes and some of the notes that you guys have provided in episode 2's video, right? We look at all the comments, everything you guys have been saying, and we cross-reference to make sure that we give you a comprehensive look ahead. Now, what Alex is saying here, I thought this was super interesting, is that Cassie was about 18 years old when she started dealing with Diddy. 18, 19, dealing with Ryan Leslie. That was her boyfriend at the time. But one thing that came out during the trial is that there was a lot of regard or praise for Diddy's children that are all, some of them are in their late teens and early 20s. That was around the age that Cassie was when these things happened.
era and the middle of the show, we talk about Cassie, but we also talk about other, women who were around his ecosystem, in making the band, and how these certain techniques that he would use, they weren't just used on Cassie. And that was important to highlight, and every human being is going to take that type of incoming differently. She just so happened to get involved, and she got deeper and deeper into it. And I think that one thing that struck me, and it was something that I really wanted to make a bigger deal about in the series, which is that there was so much empathy given, by the public for his kids. They all went to the sentencing and spoke, his daughters, and there was a lot of conversation about during the trial what his daughters were hearing when Cassie was giving these very horrific details, right, of what was happening in the hotel rooms. I found it to be really interesting that the public gave so much grace to his children who were, 18, 19 years old. And this is the same age that she was when she met him.
Right.
And at the end of the day, it's about Sean Combs, it's about Cassie, but what does this say about us as a public, as a community of people, when we lose the narrative and we can't even understand that, what is our part of this story? And I think that's also kind of a point with the series.
Yeah. And do you think that hip hop culture was on trial as much as Sean Combs was?
Not all. Look, if I didn't say anything, you would interpret it as the hip hop is fine with his behaviors. There's no one else being vocal. So you would look at it and just say, because that mind your business, or let me not say nothing about nothing, or those things, it would allow the entire culture to register as if they're for that behavior.
What's your intent with the series, with the film?
I mean, I think the intention is to give a more full-bodied experience to what happened, from the people that agreed to sit down and to participate. And I feel like the film asks a lot of questions, maybe more questions are asked than answers given. And I think that it was important to both of us to preserve the culture of hip hop, because I think all too often when projects like this are made, our culture is diminished. This is a story that I think a lot of people want to kind of rain down on the culture of hip hop as a whole, and they forget that these are the actions and the allegations of one man. Sean Combs has a lot of things that he's going to continue to have to work out, but he also contributed to the culture.
So Diddy did contribute to the culture. But as we get further into this episode, I do want you guys to think about that. Was he the only one? Was he the only one? A lot of people were like, hey, AV, you really got to look into Cassie's stuff too. You really do. I didn't, but I did today. Let's go back in. They're about to be done in a few seconds here.
And that was also important. So I hope that the takeaway is that sometimes things are, it's more than meets the eye. And there's a lot of layers. There's a lot of nuance to stories. And I feel like we tried to put all those layers in as much as we could.
So what is your intent? What is your hope?
Well, I hope it performs well and people get a chance to enjoy it.
Do you think the jury got it right?
Well, yeah. I don't like to go against the system. I have faith in our judicial system. He'll be home in 2 years. All right, he'll be fine.
Anybody else that you wanted to speak to?
Sean Combs.
See,
Sean Combs. He's the missing.
They want Diddy in this thing. They're like, come on, Diddy. Look at 50's smile. He's like, come on, Diddy. You want to do your own documentary? Come to mine. All right, come over here. It's so funny to watch this in retrospect.
Ingredient, I think that, again, another interesting thing about the series is that because of this footage that we have, and because of the incredible amount of archives, not just from the last days of, leading up to his, the last days leading up to his arrest and the indictment, I do feel like there's a presence of him that happens throughout the series. Like you kind of feel like you're with him and you get to know his personality a little bit more than him just being, in a documentary with photographs, and you never really get to hear from him. But it was a holy grail for me from the very beginning to try and get him to sit, because I have so many questions. And
What are your questions?
I'd love to know more about the pockets of his, upbringing. I'd love to know more about, the school he attended. I'd love to know more about some of the closest friends that he had that were also a part of, the creation of Bad Boy, that he leaned on heavily. And I'd love to
Look at
get
Curtis.
just his perspective
Look at him.
on,
Look at
this
50.
This moment.
Oh my God.
What was it all worth it? Like what would he
I
potentially have
can't
done
with
different?
50.
If Sean Combs watches this, what do you think he's going to feel?
Like, wow, this is amazing. I think he's gonna say this is the best documentary I've seen in a long time. Because you'll see people saying that. I mean, he may feel a different way about pieces and bits of it, but he knows the truth. I think he'll see the truth in it.
So this is also included, and this is newly included, guys. Good Morning America is not trying to get sued. This right here ends the clip saying Netflix so-called documentary is a shameful hit piece. Today's GMA teaser proves that Netflix relied on stolen footage. And shout out to one of you guys in chat. Thank you so much to that person. I forgot who said it, but somebody was like, wait, I'm confused. Weren't the videographers included in some type of court documentation? I think that's right. But this is a note from Diddy's legal team. And I do believe this is a part of the cease and desist effort that came out when this interview was released last week, right? Coming back down to it, let me take myself off of the screen. Can I do that and still talk to you? Or let me put it over here so you can read along. It says, as Netflix and its CEO, Ted, well know, Mr. Combs has been amassing footage for decades, since he was 19 years old, to tell his own story in his own way. Interesting, right? Now, it doesn't finish there. I think there's another note coming up in a second or two. That's from Diddy's legal team. Here we go. It is also shocking that Netflix gave creative control of this production to Curtis 50 Cent Jackson, a longtime public adversary who has a personal vendetta against Diddy and made a career of slandering and defaming him. All right, come on, Diddy. We know 50 is 50, but did 50 make a career out of defaming you? Was Wangsta defaming you? Was all the production stuff? Because now 50 is getting more into directing and production and movies and documentaries and film, right? That's a little different. Did he really make his career out of having a vendetta towards you? Beyond the legal concerns, Mr. Combs views Netflix's decision as a personal breach of trust. Now, this is coming from Diddy's legal team. All right. Now, Netflix had something towards the end of this clip, and that's why I think GMA put it out this morning, is because, they're trying to clean up their part of it. See this? Netflix spokesperson. Both of these statements came out after the initial Good Morning America interview came out. I just showed you the full footage, which was the entire 20 minutes. All right. When they put it out, it was like about a minute. And then Reuters and all these other news outlets started replaying that footage, but it was really about a minute of the interview. I just showed you what they claim to be the full interview with Alex and 50 Cent. Now, Netflix received a cease and desist letter from Diddy's team. And then Netflix put out its own statement because, like I said, it ain't just 2 or 3 people that they have as lawyers. They got a whole department, okay? They got a legal department. They got a compliance department. They probably got more we don't even know about that are legally connected. That's how most corporations operate. You know, like I spent a lot of time in corporate America and really understood their legal departments as I was in law school. And there are different facets within, because within that legal department, there are so many people that keep a corporation alive today. You have regulatory compliance, you have general compliance, and even just in that space is huge. And in film, you probably have so many different rules you have to follow. You need a compliance department, right? And all the different lawyers specialize in the different laws that you need when it comes to film. You have a copyright department, IP, intellectual property. It gets so big. And for Diddy to say this, and it's not his fault, they should put out some type of legal statement from his legal team. But if you're like gonna go after Netflix, they got lawyers on a whole floor. Like, I mean, I can keep going, but there's IP, there's copyright, there's compliance, there is film compliance. There's so many different things that keep a corporation running when it comes to their legal department. It gets so big. And even this, when I worked for one of the nation's top 5 banks, I was in a department that was legal and communications, legal and media, because I was kind of like a hybrid. So this ain't even all legal. They probably drafted it, but it probably went to the PR team before it was publicly released, right? So let's read what Netflix has to say here. The claims being made about Sean Combs, The Reckoning, are false. The project has no ties to any past conversations between Diddy and Netflix. The footage of Diddy leading up to his indictment and arrest were legally obtained. I'm telling you, like 10 people have to had their eyes on this statement before it was released. And they had to go and check. Because if I'm a CEO of a major corporation, I'm not co-signing or approving anything until y'all go and check that what we're about to say is factual, right? Did we illegally get this footage? If 50 gave it to us, where did 50 get it? If somebody else got it, where did it come from? Were those people actually paid? Now, it seems like if there's a dispute on the statement of, did Diddy fully pay these people before he went to jail to do this? In my opinion, most projects are half pay. Like, you know, like you pay people first to get the project started and you pay them after the work is done. We don't know what that payment schedule looks like, guys. So we're all on the outside. You could be listed as a contractor, but can we see the invoice? Can we see like the payments that were made? Can we see that? Without that, it's just all speculation from the outside, right? But I'm pretty sure that if Netflix is saying that they were legally obtained, I think they were legally obtained, Chad. I really do. I don't think a corporation is going to go out and publicly put a statement out here like that if they haven't crossed their T's and dotted their I's. It's such a big reputational risk. That's the other thing. There's a regulatory department in legal. And so we're now looking past Diddy. Now we're bringing in bigger corporations into this story, which is wild, right? But let's keep going. It says the footage of Combs leading up to his indictment and arrest were legally obtained. This is not a hit piece or an act of retribution. See, if I was writing this from a corporate standpoint and we're coming out saying, hell no, that means they're confident. And that means they can prove the confidence. Curtis Jackson, 50 Cent, is an executive producer. Oh! Then they say he's an executive producer, but he does not have creative control. No one was paid to participate. That got even crazier. So now Netflix as a company is saying, hey, listen, it's not a hit piece. It doesn't have anything to do with him. At the end of the day, this is our name on it. We have creative control. But they're also kind of coming at 50 over here too, saying that he didn't have creative control. Like, yeah, he was a producer. He participated, but this belongs to us. Now, the next part that I find baffling is the very last sentence. What does it say? No one was paid to participate, chat. Not no one, not nan person that showed up on that screen was paid to participate. You got OGs like Tupac's cousin in episode 2. You got Roger Bonds in episode, all of them, I think, episodes 1 through 4 did not get paid. You have the woman from Danity Kane. You have Joy Dickerson. I kept wanting to say Dickerson Neal, the woman who actually was one of the first people from episode 1 to come out and say Puffy did something crazy to me. She's one of the people that sued him. She was in it. So look at this, chat. Netflix is admitting they did not pay anybody to show up, participate, or any of that. As a YouTuber, I find that crazy. Because we did the YSL trial. Y'all know Woody was like, AV, run that bread. 5 racks if you want me to show up. I want 5,000. And see, that's the thing. Art of Dialogue pays, Vlad pays, people pay for interviews. So for Netflix to come out as a corporation and say, we didn't pay anybody. I didn't realize that until we just read. Oh my God, chat. Eric Sermon was in there. Is there anybody else I'm forgetting? Eric was in there. I didn't see Uncle Gene though. I did not see Gene Deal. I was very surprised about that. A lot of stuff was actually taken from existing interviews and things like that. So now as we watch this, we could really pay attention to the people that they got on camera. Because now we know they didn't get paid. They didn't get paid. What was the other one? Kirk Barrows. Kirk didn't get paid. Kirk didn't get paid. This crazy work, guys. And so when we're talking about that debate of the camera people being paid or not, that's another thing. As I was editing episode 2, because I went back to my old Keefe D footage and stuff like that. The Keefe D investigator is all over this too. He's all over episode 2. He's in here. But no Keefe D, nobody from Keefe D's camp. You know, some people are dead now. But no Suge, no none of that. I didn't see Pac's family. That would have been good. If you got Mopreem or the sister, but they probably can't say anything because Keefe D's trial's coming up. So there's so much nuance into this. And y'all keep letting me know this whole episode. If there are people that they forgot about getting into this documentary, let me know. I started a list. Who do I have? The Mace storyline is not in here. I was surprised as hell that Gene Deal was not in here. Kim Porter, they touched on Kim a little bit, but you didn't get the whole Kim Porter storyline. So I saw that. Like, you know, you had some of her family life, and then when she decided to leave Puffy, I think out of respect too, they're doing that because, and it's so crazy because for y'all that watched Puffy's sentencing hearing with me, I did it all off of Twitter. And he had a section in his video that was specifically centered on Kim Porter and how the kids love her and how it was a big loss for their family. But again, we have to also think about how 50 is the one that produced this. And I know they only had 4 episodes and they had to chop it down, and there was a lot of stuff that got taken off. But one of Kim Porter's best friends was the model lady that was married to Russell Simmons, Kimura. They were super cool. I'm surprised that 50 didn't include that in this. So that was another thing. Jay-Z, the Busby war that took place about a year ago this year, there was that Jane Doe that was saying that Diddy and Jay had done something to her. Ultimately, that case had been proven to be a flaw, but Tony Busby was, what did he do? He had that big 1-800 number. I was like, if you've been assaulted by Diddy, call this number. We're happy to help. And Jane Doe's story turned out to be, it looked like it was fake news. So you have that. We got the whole Justin Bieber thing that was not included, right? So Justin Bieber, little bit of Usher in episode 2, like Usher was on Keefe D's Chevy, apparently shooting a video, and then Keefe D's just like, yeah, man, the car was all fucked up, and Diddy paid to get it fixed, but you know, zipped off my money. I never got paid for that hit on Tupac. And then there's the whole, did y'all hear about Diddy having an adopted daughter? I was like, what kid? But it turns out, I think it was like, you know, in fairness to him, I think it was like a friend of the girls, the twins. So anyway, I'm trying to be objective and look at legal stuff and break out the fake news, but there are reasons why certain things were redacted or not included in this documentary. But 50 is out here saying, listen, we're going to do season 2 and it's going to be on YouTube. All right. So there's a whole bunch of stuff going on. Now, let's finish this up and we're going to get into our brother. Oh my God, Clayton Howard. Because when I dug into him today, I was like, oh my word. Oh my word. So they're about to finish this. This is the Netflix spokesperson. Let's see if there's another page. I think that's it. Nobody was paid to participate in this documentary. That's crazy work. Maybe that's why you don't have everybody in it. But that's it.
But Curtis,
That
people know.
concludes it. What we will do. Oh, Chad, we got to go to this guy. This is Clayton. No, it's not funny. Don't say it, AV. He kind of looks a little bit like Clayton Bigsby from the Chappelle Show thing. Hold on, I got to show it to you so you know what I'm talking about. I hate me sometimes. He looks a little bit like Clayton Bigsby. Oh, shit. Clayton Bigsby Chappelle Show glasses. Why does this happen to me? Yo, chat, why? All right. This is the picture that came up in my head. This one. Clayton Bigsby with the glasses on because he's blind. You know, he's blind on the Chappelle Show. It's a fictional character. This is Clayton Bigsby when he was young type joint. And like, you know, first thing I click on when I come over here, I see these glasses. I know they Ray-Bans or whatever, but come on. Like, I mean, I can't. Y'all do this. Y'all make me do it. He does. Like a little bit. That don't look Clayton Bigsby-ish. Anyway, this is Clayton Howard. All right. Now, what Clayton has done, and for those of you that don't know the background on Clayton, he was actually in the documentary with Cassie, Diddy, and his big portion of episode 3 was talking about how, you know, Diddy and Cassie had hired him and he worked with them for about 8 years with the Freak-Offs, right? They would call him and like Cassie legit was treating this guy like a second boyfriend. This is all alleged, and I have his court filing here. So we're going to read his claims, right? He was a second boyfriend, so to speak, and Clayton had a girlfriend. And he just kind of talks about his relationship with them, how he would be called and asked to travel, whether it was in New York or LA or Miami. And he was actually one of the initial witnesses on the government's case against Diddy. Now, he didn't testify, but he does consider himself a victim of SA and S trafficking. Where the plot twist is that this guy is saying that Cassie was an aggressor too. And Cassie had SA'd him and did some things. Now, I will tell you guys, as a woman, I was reading some of this stuff and I was like, what the you can't make it up. Like, what the hell is this? It's strap in. I had to get some more tea. She has a 30 mil, Steve. And yes, this ninja wants parts of it. He wants it. I mean, she should have moved. She did not move. She should have went across the pond to the UK to hang out with Nurse Janice. She should have went over there. She stayed here with the 30 mil. And she has a family. She has kids. Like, Cassie's married now. She's doing pretty well. Like, you know, I believe during the trial she was pregnant. She thought this thing was going to be behind her. Like, Steve, you know what I'm saying, Steve? She should have left. Nurse Janice, like, yeah, come to the UK. You should have went to Croatia, Greece, Italy. Go somewhere else. Get out. Like, get your money and go. Okay? She stayed. So Clayton's like, Cassie. Oh, Cassie. Cassie, you got this bread. Look at the face. Clayton's like, oh, Cassie, you got this bread. You got this bread, Cassie. Let's talk. Let me share my story. He was drugged. Oh my God. Guys, I'm telling you, this document is crazy. It's so crazy. It's so crazy to the point where, you know, that thing at the top whenever Tyrone Blackburn does something and it says trigger warning? Like, it has that. It has a trigger warning. I'm going to read you all 40 pages. It has a trigger warning. But this time, the defendants, and this is when it was originally filed, look at the defendant list. Diddy, Cassie, Bad Boy Records, Epic Records, Combs Enterprises, Beverly Hills Hotel, and Doe Corporations 1 through 10. Clayton's coming for the bag. So we're going to watch a little bit of Vlad. He honestly, I think he has better clips. Let's do Clayton Howard on Art of Dialogue, because I don't know Vlad B. Dialogue. Yeah, there's a few of them. Let's look at Clayton over there. Okay. I watched some of this. Oh, look, it's me live. Lawyer wanted me to lie and accuse Diddy of a freak off. Oh, let's watch that. Let's go.
Yeah, that's wild, man. But tell me about this lawyer that wanted you to lie on Diddy and say he raped you.
Oh, that was Tyrone Blackburn, bro. Tyrone Blackburn is a piece of crap, bro.
Oh.
Tyrone Blackburn is the attorney that if you really want your civil action to go through.
That's a little raw lawyer, right?
Yeah, that's little raw lawyer. Shut up.
Go back. What? Hold on. What? What did you say?
Yeah, that's wild, man. But tell me about this lawyer that wanted you to lie on Diddy and say he raped you.
Oh, that was Tyrone Blackburn, bro. Tyrone Blackburn is a piece of crap, bro. Tyrone Blackburn is the attorney that if you really want your civil action to go through,
that's a Little Rod lawyer, right?
Yeah, that's Little Rod lawyer. Shout out to Little Rod. No disrespect to you, Little Rod, but Tyrone is not the man. That's probably why half of your claims got dismissed, because Tyrone don't know what the hell he doing.
Oh shit!
But Tyrone is a lawyer who files salacious claims. Like, he has no problem falsifying allegations and demands letters. Whatever makes a celebrity or important person look bad, Tyrone is willing to put into a complaint. I actually met Tyrone because he represented me on a matter regarding my civil rights in the NYPD in the city of New York. I'm a victim of malicious prosecution and women stalking me, lying on me to the police. So this is
I'm reacting live to this, guys. I've not seen this clip before, but I've been hearing about Tyrone in these streets, okay? When we originally did the Diddy complaint, and shout out to Lead, I did the Diddy complaint, or the one that originated from Cassie to get the settlement. I reviewed that initially with Lead on his channel, and then again here on my channel with, oh my goodness, Nick Ricada. We went through it. We went through the complaint, and so I've analyzed it with a few attorneys. Now, the other thing is that in a lot of the complaints against Sean P. Diddy Combs, over 100 civil actions to date. 77 are still in play right now at the time of the recording. Tyrone and Tony Busby have a big bulk of them. In fact, I only saw this in editing episode 1 and 2. I pulled the documents from Kirk Barrows. Do you know who represented Kirk in one of these damn lawsuits that Kirk lost? Let me not say that. He lost the first lawsuit. Tyrone was not listed in that one. But Tyrone represents Kirk in the open, active case against Diddy's mom for the 25%. Remember the baseball bat situation? Tyrone's name's on that. And when Tyrone started coming around, let's just say he did make it clear that he was representing a lot of people in this Diddy thing, right? So, you know, shout out to Grave Hill Podcast. This man does always seem to be a victim, but that's why I'm saying, like, you know, if you really listen to him closely, Clayton seems to be about his bag. Like, you know.
This is why the situation with Diddy kind of hit me different. Cassie's lying on Diddy. I'm a man who's been lied on by my ex-girlfriend for years, bro. I got multiple orders of protection against her. I'm suing the states of New York and New Jersey, all for civil rights violations that law enforcement did to me as the male victim of a final domestic violence order. So now Tyrone Blackburn is the lawyer who I hired to sue the city of New York when I'm able to prove that they've been intentionally violating my rights as a male domestic violence victim of intimate partner stalking. Tyrone Blackburn looks into the case. You know, I'm trying to go to law school myself, so I'm somewhat legally savvy. I managed to structure it for him so he can see the allegations of what I'm saying. He totally agrees that they violated my civil rights. He does have.
Now, as he continues, apparently this man has been to jail a few times. We're going to talk about that. One of the many legal documents I'm about to show you has been written by Clayton himself. I kid you not, I'm not making it up. He's pulled a Darrell Brooks and represented himself half of the time. All right? I've been to law school, but I would never in my life represent myself. Okay? So again, it's my first time seeing this clip, and that's what I'm thinking about as we watch it. I can't believe he said he admitted it.
Have experience suing the city and the NYPD, so he decides to issue me a contingent retainer to take my case. During the course of that litigation, me and him start to become cool, and I tell him about my connection to Diddy and Cassie and my interviews with Homeland Security. I think at that time I had been interviewing with Homeland Security maybe 5 months. So I had some time in with the U.S. Attorney's Office. So once I tell him the story about Cassie, he's blown away. He's like, oh my God, you're the guy. You're the guy that was sleeping with her. So I said, yeah, I'm probably one of the guys. So he begs me to represent me. He tells me I have an action. Yo, Art, here's the truth. I didn't even know that I had an action against Diddy and Cassie until Tyrone Blackburn. Once I told him how Cassie did the things she did to me, how she forced herself on me on the menstrual cycle, how Diddy paid me, Tyrone Blackburn is the one who told me I had civil action against them. So he tells me I should sue them. He presents his legal arguments of why I can. Not gonna cap, bro. Okay, they damaged me. I'm entitled to damages. Bet. Let's sue him. He starts asking me about Diddy and sexual assaults. And I said, nah, Diddy never touched me. I said he made a pass at me one time on like some homos, like a homo initiative, but I shut it down. He never touched me. Nothing ever happened. Now, Tyrone has another client, a male escort, who is also suing Cassie, Edmund Laurent. Everybody's talking about my lawsuit, bro. But the truth is, Cassie got sued by two people last week. She got sued by me, and she got sued by the Islander, Edmund Laurent.
Okay. I verified this. I went to his case file. And this is why I'm telling you guys, I know. And he did a lot of stuff wrong. Clayton represented him. He signed these legal documents. He did a lot of stuff wrong. Where I'm going to show it to you. So there are some people that are like, okay, he's calling Cassie an aggressor. We're going to walk through all that. He's saying that she gave him an STD, curable, not one of the non-curables, right? We'll talk through that. Because I was walking through his legal document and I'm like, okay, because like the non-curable, sometimes you can get some damages back for non-curables, like HIV, things like that. I've seen those type of lawsuits, and I've studied them in law school, right, on the civil side. But there's other things that he included, and just the way the legal document was written. I thought I was going to scroll to the end and see Tyrone's name. No, it was Clayton. It was Clayton. Clayton signed. He wrote his own stuff. Pro se. He represented himself pro se in a lot of this stuff. And you can tell by the way that it's written, because the same way he's talking with Art right now, I kid you not, we're going to look at it. It's the same way he types the story in the legal docs, and you can't do that for judges, right? Like, and I'm going to teach y'all, there's this, the way legal docs are structured is facts, here's why we're here, law, things like that. The way they taught us, it's called IRAC. Issue, rule, application, conclusion. That's how we write everything. Every legal paragraph is written in that structure. Every document is written in that structure. So I'm reading it, it's 40 pages, you know, and of course, who wants to read 40 pages for fun? But I do it, right? I'm looking for an IRAC type of structure. And it really just read like a storybook. I was like, who fucking wrote this? Like, I couldn't wait to see what lawyer signed their name at the bottom. I could not wait. And sorry to swear if y'all have kids around, this might be a sweary type of pod, so that's your warning. But like, dude, wait till we read it, chat. Wait. And then one of my friends was like, you should see if he'll come on for an interview. I was like, well, yeah, there's some allegations of Diddy having some STDs himself. But again, I just want to show y'all before we get there. But let's finish up with Clayton here, because again, this is not something I've seen before. We're reacting to it together. There's about 5 minutes left, and then we'll go to the docs and see what's new over there.
But Tyrone Blackburn named Cassie as a Jane Doe. The same thing he was trying to do with me to protect Cassie's credibility and keep Diddy looking guilty. This has been a massive conspiracy, bro, with members of attorneys who have been falsifying this stuff to make Diddy look guilty. He is guilty, but they've been manipulating things to make him appear more guilty and make the women appear as though they're victims. Tyrone starts asking me, yo, did he ever do anything to you? I know as a black man, you might not be comfortable. You know, black men are not comfortable talking about their trauma. And I said, we not, bro, but I didn't get raped. And I ain't gonna lie and tell you somebody raped me for some money, because Diddy ain't never raped me, bro. This guy goes and he's repeatedly asking me this for, I want to say, a couple of weeks. He keeps coming back at me, trying to tell me that, something had to happen with Diddy.
Oh
I'm like, bro,
no.
Diddy never raped me, bro. I can't lie on this man and tell you he did something to me he didn't do. So eventually Tyrone stops asking me to say that Diddy raped me, and he accepts my allegations for exactly what they are, which they are today.
So, chat, the reason why we have to talk about this because we have to be fair, right? Diddy did say in that footage, damn, everybody's coming at me with these lawsuits. Everybody's coming at me with these lawsuits. There's a new one every day. All right. Diddy did say that. But Clayton's just like, Blackburn was pressuring me to say that Diddy did something to me. So what this guy kind of just did in a legal lens is almost discredit every other victim in their cases. Because if I'm a defense attorney, I'm going to want to look and see, oh, well, this guy said that on the Art of Dialogue. Like, Tyrone, let's look at all of your cases. Did you pressure everyone to say this? Did you say that Diddy did something to everybody? Because let's be honest, Diddy probably did do some of those things. Maybe even all. But it's not about what you can prove. It's about what you can prove in front of a jury. And we all know that. That's the way this justice system works, right? It's about what you can prove in front of a jury, even with civil actions. So look at this man and how he's crossing his legs. He's like, oh, I'm telling the Tyrone story. I'm telling this Tyrone story. Look at them legs crossed. I'm going to tell y'all about Tyrone. And then I'm going to sign my own legal documents to show you what I could do without Tyrone.
With all the money that Diddy have, and I'm listening to you and everything you telling me, so I'm going off of what you telling me. Why didn't he go get penis surgery? I mean, he got the money to do it. I mean,
Shit.
you can have.
What are we
I don't
talking
know, bro.
about?
I don't know why he didn't try to figure out a way to deal with his issue.
Penis
And let me
surgery?
be fair to him, because I can't give you an exact size of this man's. Like, I wasn't looking at him. I'm not really on it. Like,
Why are we
but I know
talking
from
about
the way
this?
Cassie treated him, and certain times that I would see him, that I was considerably larger than him. I couldn't tell you what he is, but I know I was considerably larger than him. So maybe he was at a point in his life, he had so much money and so much like influence that he was cool with making his own little movies. So it was okay for him to sit back and watch a dude slut out his girl. I really think that's the type of time Diddy was on. I don't even think Diddy cared about his penis size, honestly. He could do whatever he want. But see, we thinking like that because we're not super rich men. He gets the same passion and lust out of these women with the money, bro. The money turns these women on. He don't need the biggest penis in the world. He need the biggest pocket. And then he can get a fool like me to come in, sex out the girl, take turns here and there. He's giving the girl what he wants, and he's still satisfying beautiful women.
Oh my God.
You personally, do you think Diddy gay?
That's a tricky question, yo. I'm gonna be honest with you. There was a time where I would have said yes, but this was before the prosecution's case of Diddy. And
Oh
I gotta
my
be fair,
God.
yo. Like, I didn't see none of the gay stuff they talking about. He did that one thing to me that I interpret as him
What?
trying to proposition me when he
What?
asked me if I was gay and put his rectum in my view. But there are people who made allegations that Diddy raped him. And here's my thing with that, Art. I'm a grown man. If somebody drugs me and rapes me, or somebody drugs me, and I pass out and I wake up and my anus is hurting, and I'm still in the room with the person who raped me, and they say, yeah, I did that. I'm not walking out of that room unscathed. I'm beating the hell out that nigga. So my whole thing is, all of these men who saying Diddy raped him and he was still in the room, what type of man is you, bro? You try to tell me this man raped you? And
Okay. Because the Ja Rule stuff is coming out this week, right? We have that all coming out this week. We have other things, and they've been older stories for such a long time, but people are chiming in about it more and more often. Ray J, did y'all see that? Ray J, I gotta look for the Ray J clip. I might have to show y'all the Ray J clip. Ray J's a mess right now. He's done pulled out a gun on somebody for Thanksgiving with his kids around and got all crazy. But then I saw another clip of Ray J like, yeah, I was in the bed with Diddy. I woke up and Diddy was in the bed and I looked over and I was just like, why are you in the bed? And I was sore. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? All right. But like, we're going to rewind that. I'm going to give it to Clayton on this one. What you mean? You were found in a bed with a man and you're sore and you don't know why? But in fairness, did the woman do it? Did somebody?
I did that. I'm not walking out of that room unscathed. I'm beating the hell out that nigga. So my whole thing is all of these men who saying Diddy raped him and he was still in the room. What type of man is you, bro? You try to tell me this man raped you, and I don't give a damn how much money Sean Combs has. If Sean Combs would have raped me and drugged me and I woke up and my rectum was hurting, I'm trying to kill him. I don't care how many bodyguards he has around. There's no way I'm gonna quietly walk out of this room and hold the fact that Diddy raped me to myself for a decade. So to ask, do I think he's gay? I think he might be bisexual, but I don't think he's directly overtly like, I don't think he's like directly just I'm gay. I think he's like a closet bisexual, and I think he's in serious denial of his attraction to men. I definitely think that. As I was sitting through the prosecution, I kind of realized how much people was lying on him, and I feel it's going to sound crazy, but I feel bad for him. I was honestly going to do this podcast with a free Diddy shirt on, because yes, Diddy's guilty, but Diddy should not go to jail for things that he is not completely guilty of. While these women get to go free and pretend to be victims, that is wrong. There's no justice in the American legal system. If a criminal defendant can lie to prosecutors and make prosecutors think that their actual criminality is victimhood that's imposed on them by someone else, and dozens of other people could confirm the fact that these people were involved. This was like I believe this Diddy trial was the biggest slap in the face to the Me Too movement in actual victims that we'll ever see. This was a joke.
Well, shit. The reason why he's saying that, guys, and I'm going to take a break on Superchats. The reason why he is telling you about victimhood is because he is an advocate for male victims. We're going to read this lawsuit, and he says two major things. Actually, there are many things. It's probably like 10. But he paints Cassie as such an equal aggressor to Diddy that he doesn't put a difference on it. Apparently, and in women, I'm so sorry to say this, but I have to, because I thought about it. I have a legal brain. I'm like, oh, is that a crime? Like, because now I'm genuinely curious. Apparently, in California, there's a situation where this guy and Cassie and Diddy, they were all in a room, and he had been working with them for 8 years, and like, dude has a whole girlfriend. Like, he just comes over to like apparently Diddy would sit in the corner and watch them, and like they would get it popping like just for days. Throw a little bit of ecstasy in there, just for days. I don't know how people do that. 3 days, crazy. But they would get it popping, cheeks clapping everywhere. Now, he at some point did call Cassie an aggressor because she had gotten mad at him. I don't know why, but she typically, and Diddy would have like the hotel rooms set up for the freak offs, and they would like try to protect the couches and things like that, and they would lay down comforters and stuff to not cause damage to the room or damage to the couches, because you guys know if you have a hotel room with incidentals, you can get charged for that stuff, like extra fees. So they would have, buckets. These are his words, not mine. It's in the lawsuit I'm about to show you. Instead, how like if you're doing like a romantic thing, you expect to see like a bucket of champagne with ice and like 2 glasses strawberries. These motherfuckers had buckets of baby oil. I kid you not. He says it's in the lawsuit. I'm about to show it to you. buckets with baby oil and Astroglide in it. Right? They'd have little candles and everything. She would dress up. She would wear like red wigs and all this stuff. And Cassie was young at the time. So, like, you know, she's dressing up for these occasions. Diddy at first, what did he call himself? Frank Black? He would call himself Frank Black, try to make it sound like he had a Southern accent, and he would tie his face in a shirt tied to the back. Like, yeah, man, my name's Frank. And like eventually, you know, this sex worker is just like, why do you keep showing up with your face cover? Like, this is strange. And then they started collecting, you know, the sex worker semen. It was so weird. Buckets, Steve, buckets of baby oil, right? That's why there was so much. Now, the crazy part about all of this is that he starts to say that Cassie is an aggressor because she got mad at him one time. And this time when he showed up, there was no candles. There was no buckets of baby oil. There was no lights on. Everything was dim. Diddy warned him. He's just like, yo, she's mad at you, man. He's just like, why? He's just like, well, you and her got to talk. So they sit down, they talk. I forget about what the issue was because there were so many. There was one time where she was allegedly pregnant, like all types of stuff. She got mad at him that they did it in the dark. And this time was different. And men, I'm sorry, but I have to tell you what is in this document. He alleges that Cassie got it popping with him in the dark on purpose because she was trying to conceal something. And ladies, I'm sorry too, but it is like, you know, your cycle. And when you started, allegedly Cassie was on full cycle in the dark, was just like, you pissed me off, so you're gonna pay. And then when he was done, it was all looked like a murder scene. Allegedly, that happened. And it's in this lawsuit, and it's listed under a section that's called sexual assault against a man. It's a little uncomfortable to talk about, but I am curious to see what you guys think about that. Like, I don't know. There's some men that are super uncomfortable with it. Because, like, think about it. If you just you turn the lights on, because he said there was a little lamp next to me, the little touch lamp. I hit it 3 times and I opened, you know, the lights came on and it looked like a murder scene. He said, I got set up. Like, but apparently, Diddy did know about that situation. He knew that she was mad. He knew that she was going to do it. And that's what he lists in the lawsuit. That's the first thing. I know, Kiana, it's bad, man. I'm sorry. Listen, men don't like it. And at least in my experience. Or, you know, even if they push for it, I'm like, I'll see you next week. No, like, no, right? Like, for her to do that, though, if it's true, and I can only imagine, too, if you're trying to get out of the situation and, like, you know, these lawsuits are coming out, and now he's literally listing her as an aggressor, too, saying that she wanted it and that she did that purposely. So that's one thing. The second thing is he said that she purposefully gave him an STD. And like I said, there's a difference between curables and uncurables. There are some STDs that can be cleared up with medication, and there are others that are permanent that live with you for life. I have seen lawsuits in law school. I think it's probably in that civil procedure book, but we have read some lawsuits where people that receive the uncurables will go after the people that have transmitted it to them. And that's why I think the legal profession and the medical profession try to work pretty closely with educating patients to disclose if they do have one of the incurables. even if you have something that is curable, it's really good to go to your partners and just say, hey, something came up. Here's my, here's my records that proves it. You should get yourself checked out too. I think as human beings, that's something that you should do. Oh my God, this lawsuit gets so crazy, man. But it's Clayton. It's Clayton writing it from Clayton's perspective, right? Yeah, I mean, you guys are talking about Usher. I think I read that Usher had a lawsuit against him. Tony Busby. All that stuff came out. One woman saw Tony Busby doing all this. She's like, he gave me HSV. Then how do you look, Tony Busby, if you have that and you're coming? Yeah, it gets so messy. Steve already ready. He's like, Chad, listen, it's so it gets wild. But I want you guys to hear it from Clayton, because let's go to this one. Clayton and there's another man named Daniel, both dealt with Cassie. Okay. I could not believe this. I was like, there are other men that are going to contribute to the lawsuit and talk about this, because in my mind, even as a woman, I really looked at this. I saw the footage of Cassie being pulled down the hallway, and I was like, that's bullshit. Like, throw his ass under the jail. But a lot of jurors in the case are forced, when you're on a jury, you're forced to only look at the charges that are put in front of you. It's not a DV claim. It's not a domestic violence thing. He's not on trial for hitting her, even though we have footage of that. You have to focus on what the charges are in front of you. Racketeering, prostitution, putting somebody over state lines for the purpose of prostitution. But really, Clayton's big thing here is for male prostitutes, male victims, and that they're not getting what they should get as far as recognition. Now, a lot of people will argue that Clayton's not wrong for that. Now, is the whole cycle thing appropriate? But if she did it on purpose and if he has proof, is that a crime? I've been really thinking about this. If somebody does that purposefully, is that a crime? The second part is if you transmit something knowingly, knowing that you have it, because that's also in his lawsuit. It was a curable, but she had known, and she allegedly did not attempt to contact him to let him know. So these are new things in this modern dating era that I think are important to talk about, because I'm seeing them. When I went to law school, they weren't in the books. Now these things are showing up. We could talk about Tyrone putting pictures and complaints and things. I had never seen that in my life. The whole fucking trigger warning thing, I did not learn that shit in law school. It was not appropriate. But now we get trigger warnings. Now we get pictures and complaints and all types of things, text messages. But that is the modern era that we are moving towards. But I think this is a very big learning lesson for a lot of people. Where is the line? Can you sue for some? Like, I'm generally fascinated about this topic. So I can't wait. We're going to do one more art of dialogue. Then we're going to go to some of the docs, because we're going to be here for a while. That's why I'm like, let's do one more art of dialogue. And we'll go from there.
Tell me about this red couch made out of mink.
Oh,
Yo, bro. Dude, yo, this shit is crazy, bro.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I believe it's the 66th floor. The reason why I'm bringing this up, son, because this shit was on some the devil's advocate bro. I don't know. Have you ever been to Diddy's apartment on
I did.
56th Street, like across the street from Bad Boy?
Yeah, I just didn't sit on that couch, but I saw the Biggie posters, the 3 Biggie posters, right?
The Biggie, the Biggie posters with the crown to the side.
Crown,
Yo,
bro.
so look, bro, he invites me over to his joint, bro. And this place, I believe it literally was on the 66th floor, bro, like on some straight up satanic shit, dude. But we get into the goddamn apartment, and there's 2 living rooms in this apartment. It's split like by like a sliding, dividing door, or whatever, right? And in the main living room, he got like 115-inch TV built into a wall and shit. And like, yeah, you said
that's crazy, that TV. Yeah.
Yo, Art. And then in the secondary goddamn living room, bro, is a mink fucking couch, bro. This is the biggest, like, you know, them L-shaped sectionals. This went around the whole fucking living room, bro. This couch was at least $1 million. I guarantee it, bro. And this man had me busting Cassie's ass on that goddamn mink couch, dousing that couch with baby oil, fucking nut juice, all that. Yo, dude, this shit is crazy,
not the
bro.
nut juice.
I literally was sitting there thinking the whole time, yo, if I could just take a razor, bro, and cut a section of this bitch off the...
Okay. This is New York men for you. Did I just hear nut juice? I heard nut juice used in another sentence. I never thought we would see that again past the YSL trial. Shout out to YSL Woody. But we heard nut juice. And like, think about how these men are talking. Look at him. He's reenacting it in his mind. He's just like, yeah. Like, I was busting it wide open. Like, what the hell?
Back that no couch, dousing that couch with baby oil, fucking nut juice, all that. Yo, dude, this is crazy, bro. I literally was sitting there thinking the whole time, yo, if I could just take a razor, bro, and cut a section of this bitch off the back that nobody would see, I would make so much money, bro. Just selling it just like that to a goddamn fashion supplier, bro. This couch was dead ass made out of mink, bro. That's when I knew I was dealing with people on a whole nother level,
it has
bro.
nut
Because
juice on
half
it.
the time that I would go to see them, bro, I was broke as shit, dude. And I'm sitting there like, oh, thank God I'm getting this.
Felt like a life-saving call.
Because, yeah, dude, like, even though I never asked them for money, they usually bless me with thousands, bro, after this encounter. So I'm sitting here like, yo, there's a good chance I'm going to make some money. This is great. And that one right there made me feel like a fucking loser, bro. I'm sitting here like, damn, bro. Like, I'm over here with fucking $30 to my name, bro. This motherfucker's got nut juice on $1 million mink couch, bro. Like, yeah, I knew I had to make some changes in my life after that one, bro. I ain't never seen no shit like that, bro. That was crazy.
Skeeting nut juice on the couch saying, take that, take that.
Nah, there was no take that, take that. Nah, some of that. I was about to say that was the next party, bro.
He did that to me.
Yeah, he said, nah, shut up, bro.
Yeah, he did.
He actually said, take that to you.
To Cassie, I was like, no, not me. What the hell could I be taking?
Yeah,
but I'm smashing him out. And he's like, yeah, but you like that? Yeah, take that.
Yeah,
I broke out laughing in the middle of freak off. And she started laughing too. He smiled a little bit. He let us laugh it out for a couple of seconds, and he was like, all right, get back to it.
Yo, Art, you know what's crazy, man? Like, and I know I'm gonna get a lot of backlash for saying this, but I mean, we here to be truthful, bro. Outside of this dude, that demon that lives inside of this motherfucker, bro, when he's being a spaz, this dude is one of the coolest fucking guys, bro. That, like, I'm talking like, especially when you like idolize this man growing up and to actually be in his presence, bro. It takes 5 seconds, bro, before all of that fucking huge fame, celebrity just goes away, and you feel like you just shooting the with the homie on the corner, bro. Just chilling, bro. He just inquisitive about, yo, what you got?
What the fuck are you talking about? I'm sorry. What the hell is that? How are you gonna be like, okay, we're here, Art of Dialogue, and we gonna talk about all the shit I did with Diddy and all that, but yo, he's a cool dude, man. He's a cool cat. It was never a problem. I idolized him. I'm sorry, but now I have to look at this from both sides. I do. Because you have one dude on one side of the couch, just like Cassie's an aggressor. The other one's like, yeah, man, Diddy was a shit, man. I was about to cut out a piece of that couch, that nut juice couch, a little patch, and sell it on eBay, see how much bread I can get. What the fuck is this interview? What is this? I mean, James, the nut juice patch. Go to eBay and type in Diddy mink couch nut juice patch. Like what is this? Because now it's confusing. I always look at everything as if I was a member of the jury. You're telling us a story about how you were essayed, assaulted by this man and this woman, that they had their freaky stuff going off, freak offs, astroglide everywhere. But you're also kind of fanboying. It's confusing. Nut juice couch patch chat. We gotta look it up.
Going on in your life, yo, that's dope, bro. Yeah, I remember when I was like y'all fucking age and like your age or whatever. Like that's how he is, bro. He literally just sit there talking to you and so it's just weird. Like when I hear like that, and it's like it's a polarizing effect that you have that is crazy, because on one hand you like, God damn it, I wanted to kill this guy. I was so angry at this guy. I'm still fucking pissed at this guy. But on the other hand, it's like, yo, if you could just remove that part of this guy, this dude is a cool ass dude, bro. Did this nigga bail you out of jail, son?
Yo, did he bail me out of jail, bro?
Bro.
Did he bail me out of jail? Yeah, I think it was maybe the last year my mother was alive, maybe a year or two before she passed. Bro, I'm leaving a freak off with them. Thanksgiving Eve. I spent all night tearing Cassie apart. So now I'm in construction too in Manhattan. So I got to go uptown to work. Had a fucking taillight out, bro. NYPD pulled me over, run me through the system. By the time I get before a judge for a damn taillight, they give me like a $6,000, $5,000 bail, something like that. This is 11 o'clock at night. The banks is closed. I can't take $5,000 off my card. So pretty much it looks like I'm going to be spending Thanksgiving in jail.
Do you know that shit's not in the fucking lawsuit? I'm sorry, I'm pissed because I can't be on Diddy's legal team. I saw interviews of this man saying that he went to jail and Cassie couldn't find him and nobody could find him. And he turned up 2 or 3 weeks later and said, okay, I'm back, I'm around again. And then Cassie's like, oh, I had your baby, or I was pregnant and I had an abortion, blah, blah, blah. That's what she said. Now we're learning that Diddy bailed you out. Diddy was the one who bailed you out. So this story is crazy. Raw reaction. I'm just now seeing this clip. What the hell?
Jail. I talked to my mother last. I remember this. I called her up. I'm like, yeah, Mom, sorry, I'm not gonna make it to Thanksgiving. She was so disappointed, She's like, oh, come on, Clay, you serious? I said, yeah, Mom, sorry. So, she sat on the phone, me and her talking. She said, yo, your phone has been going crazy. This guy named Mr. Sean keeps calling you. Oh, that's Diddy. I said, Ma, call that number back. She said, why? I said, Ma, call the number back. Tell him that I got arrested leaving him this morning. Tell him you need $5,000 to bail me out of jail and you need it tonight because you want me home for Thanksgiving. Call him right now and call him. She says, Clayton, why would this guy give you $5,000? I said, Ma, trust me. Call him. Tell him you my mother. Tell him that I was with him this morning. We was working out. And when I left him,
he was working out.
I said, my mother was a minister, honestly. My mother was a minister for 30 years. You know what I'm saying? So it would have, I don't want to say God, I'm thankful that she's dead, but the embarrassment of this, it would have been a lot for her. You know what I'm saying? So I'm kind of glad this came out after she was gone. But basically, Diddy bails me out. She meets him in
Oh my God, chat. What did we just walk into? What in the hell? Oh, thank God. Thank God my mother was dead. Mr. Diddy, Mr. Sean Petty Pendergrass, and shout out to you for getting all them new subs. Y'all sub to Petty Pendergrass. This is diabolical, chat. Nobody's on team Diddy, but like when you hear interviews like this, and I'm gonna show you the lawsuit the same way he's talking in the first person is how that fucking lawsuit is written. It is one more. It's so bad. I had a motorboat it.
Manhattan, he goes and he gives her the money. He comes out of the London hotel. He gives my mother the $5,000. Next morning, I call her. I think I was in I might have been on Rikers Island. No, I was in Brooklyn. No, I was in Manhattan. I was in the Tombs. So next morning, I called her from the Tombs, and she was like, "Yo, how the hell do you know Puff Daddy?" And I said, "What, Ma?" She said, "Don't what me, boy. How the hell do you know Puff Daddy? How is it that you got Puff Daddy to come out of that had to be a luxury hotel, Clayton, and give me $5,000 cash? How the hell do you know Puff Daddy?" I said, "Ma, this ain't the best time in jail on a paid call. Did you pay my bail?" She said, "I'm on the way to pay it right now." I said, "Pay the bill. We'll talk about it when I get home." She said, "No, you're going to tell me how you know this man." So I spent the rest of the day in jail trying to come up with a creative enough lie to tell my minister mother that I wasn't Cassie's boy toy and Diddy was paying me to be a prostitute for his girlfriend, which was difficult because I didn't like lying to her like that. But he bailed me out, bro. Bailed me out, told me I could keep it, flew me to Miami a week later.
Look at the fucking kicks. This man has Vibrams on, okay? Do y'all remember these feet sneakers? Y'all remember the sneakers with the toes that were just crafted out? He's wearing Vibrams. I can't. Oh, I can't watch this. What are we watching? You're on the Art of Dialogue. This man almost has 1 million subscribers. It's like the equivalent of Vlad, and you wearing the toe sneakers, bruh? The toe, hold on, let me hide the toe joints. Y'all know what I'm talking about? I had some of these. That's how I know, the toe sneakers, because they look so crazy, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you'll be more like a Homo sapien, and you know, this is how we used to walk back in the days in Africa, right? You're more to the ground." I ain't never see somebody wear Vibrams since like 2012, chat. Thank you, James, across the pond. What are those? You can't make this stream up. I swear to God, I did not make it up. We haven't even got to the lawsuit yet. But yes, and let's talk about this too, man. Like this is a man that was in sex work, and I do want to acknowledge that it is a traumatic experience, you know. So he is being candid and honest right now. I probably should not be making fun of him, but I have not seen them sneakers because if they are sneakers, they look like a foot glove, a glove for your feet, right? Like these joints are you know, they came out a long time ago. So when you see something that you haven't seen in 10 years, you got to point it out. So we're going to go back to the story and then zip over to the lawsuit. But man, I ain't seen Vibrams in a long time. And it, like, even that name, why would you pick that for the name of a sneaker? It sounds freaky. It sounds like something Diddy would pick. Vibrams. Like, wow. Whoa. Are they still in business? Hold on, let's Google it real quick. I have to, I get curious. Vibram sneakers. Maybe I should just type in feet sneakers. Vibram. I think that was it. Vibram. Yeah, the feet kicks is still out here, chat. People still buy them. 5 fingers. One of these says 5-finger barefoot shoes for yoga. And you know, if you're a Chappelle fan, we got to say it together. What did the 5 fingers say to the face, chat? Slap. I had to do it. I had to do it. Let's go back to the vibe rooms.
So high on Molly, Diddy pressed me for the $5,000, which is hilarious that I got pressed by Diddy for 5 bands, bro. He walks up to me as soon as he opens the door of the suite when I go see him, and like I'm walking in the room. So as soon as I'm turning around to greet him, he like right in my face, like, yo, what's up with my money? I said, whoa, champ, didn't you tell me I could keep it? He said, oh, shit, I did. I told you could keep it. You right? I said, damn, bro, Diddy you just pressed me for 5 bands? I broke out laughing, bro. He said, yeah, that is kind of funny, isn't it? I said, yo, bro, Diddy just pressed me for $5,000. I'm never going to forget
Yo, this dude stay fighting with Diddy, bro. When I first met this dude, he was fighting with Diddy, bro.
He was going to get it.
Hilarious.
He was going to get it. Me and Diddy was going to fight.
Yo. Bro, dude was on a couch, bro, and he didn't know who Diddy. He ain't know because Diddy had the ski mask on with the hat and and Diddy, yo, sorry to set it up like this, but Cassie is on all fours. Diddy's getting a fucking blowjob by her. Clayton's tearing it up from the back. I'm sitting on the other fucking couch feeling like I want to cry. And this fucking guy is literally like staring at Diddy's face, bro. And Diddy stops in the middle, bro, of them tearing her up. And he's like, yo, motherfucker, if you keep looking at my face, I'm gonna fuck your motherfucking ass up, son. And I was like, yo, Cassie, yo, dude, I swear, you ever seen one of those moments of those David Blaine shows where the magician goes from this location? She was on some Dragon Ball Z shit, bro. I never seen a human move that fast across the room. Bro, it was insane, dude. She teleported from the couch to the other side, bro. And Clayton was like, yo, I ain't even fucking looking at you. I ain't even fucking looking at you, bro. And so, yeah, that was funny. Diddy was like, all right, man, I'm just making sure, bro. All right, let's have a good time now. We here to have a good time. And Cassie was like, y'all sure y'all good? She was terrified. Y'all sure y'all good?
My response.
Yeah.
Guy ain't looking at you, and he backed all the way down. And he was like, you know what, we good. He looking at me like, you crazy. So when they went around, he said, you out your damn mind. You know who that is? I said, I don't give a fuck who that is. Fuck him. He said, bro, you don't know who that is, do you? You are out of your damn mind, bro. Shut up. You don't know who that is?
Yeah.
So
you remember me telling? I was like, yo, bro, you need to shut up.
He said, you need to shut up.
You need to shut the fuck
you need
up.
To shut up. Shut up, bro. Shut up. And I'm like, yo, I
remember that, bro.
I'm not that guy. I'm trying to, I'm being from New York. I'm thinking he's a regular guy. So when me and him got cool, I'm going to fast forward. We got cool. We met up like a week, 2 later.
Yo, son.
Lucky Strikes. He's like, yo, bro, you didn't know that was Diddy? I said, get the fuck out of here. That ain't Diddy. They break out laughing at me. He's like, yo, I can't believe you don't know that's Diddy. You don't see the tattoo? And he starts going through the things. And I said,
so I know there's a lot of excitement in this interview, y'all. And again, these are people that were abused and they're talking about it. And like, that's why it's so hard to comprehend, because in a way, we've talked about this watching this particular clip. It's like there is some excitement talking about the story, while also what we're really thinking about is people that have been abused. Cassie in one of the situations, but also with this guy, Clayton is saying that he was abused too. And there's a lot of energy coming from his side of the story, but it's also a reflection of the memory as well. So I do want to acknowledge that. There's about 2 minutes left, and then we'll go to the documents.
Oh, that is Diddy. And that's when I found out it was Diddy.
Yo, everybody keep asking me how we ended up hanging out outside of that joint, bro. You tell it as I was like, yo, let's get together. And I probably was. I was like, yo, this dude is foolish.
Let's get up.
Yo, Art, this dude thought I was trying to set him up, right? And he invites his mans to come in. He's like, yo, I need you to come with me real quick and shit like that. But I was under the assumption that he might try to set me up. So I brought my mans with me, bro. But yo,
here's the homie.
I'm gonna let him tell you, dude.
Yo, this motherfucker's homie was built like a mutant ninja, a super ninja turtle with all of that. Like, okay, you're older. So you seen the episode of the Ninja Turtles where they was feeding them that stuff and they became huge and rock?
Yo, bro.
Yo, this man was like 6'7". This dude had to be like 200.
Nah, he's a 7-footer, bro.
He was huge,
Yo,
bro.
my man Sam is a 7-footer.
My man looked at him. He said, bro, what the fuck I'm supposed to do with this guy, man? He said, yo, we got to shoot this dude, and we might have to shoot him twice. He's like, look how big this motherfucker is. I said, bro, don't bitch up on me now. He said, yo, Clay, I can't even help you, bro. I said, yeah, they're cool. He said, yo, bro, if they're not cool, I can't help you.
Bro,
See
that
how
shit
big
is
that other
funny as hell,
motherfucker is?
bro. Yo, dude, that shit is hilarious,
was
bro.
hilarious.
My man Sam is massive, big ass Haitian
Huge
dude,
Haitian.
like
Huge.
crazy dude, bro.
He looked like a
dreads. Like, yeah, nah, that's
Like a palm tree, bro. That's how tall the motherfucker. When his head was like this, every time I was like, and I'm looking up at him. I'm 6'2". I'm like, oh shit, this guy's big. Word, bro.
yeah,
Word.
bro. I felt comfortable after that one, man. I was like, all right, yeah, we good. Oh man.
And that's how that clip ends, Chad. That's how it ends. I don't want to watch more without, showing you the feet sneakers. These are the feet sneakers that I was telling you guys about. Vibram was the number one option at that point. Temu apparently has them. Zappos.com if you're interested in feet sneakers. Like I said, I did own a pair. I bought one pair. They were highly uncomfortable. Everybody's talking about barefoot running. And this is from the National Geographic. Vibram, yes. This is the pair I had back in 2010, 2011, 2012. But I still can't believe we just saw Homeboy in 2025 wearing them. And they are a little peculiar looking, but it looks like they've gotten closer towards the seam. It's just, apparently the benefits you get as a runner are it's more of natural running, right? The contours hit the ground better. I will say, and I'm going to be honest with y'all, I did get a lot of looks at the gym when I would wear these, and that's why I stopped, because they were like, what the hell, AV? I was wearing bright blue feet sneakers. I call them feet sneakers. They're feet sneakers, right? But these Vibrams, I just can't believe we just saw that, So that's a little bit about the art of dialogue, this gentleman, Clayton, that we're talking about. Now we actually need to get into Clayton's document. All right. This is just what it is. He wrote it himself. It's his side of the story. But if you have not been exposed to Clayton or don't know about him, I wanted you to get some context. He is in episode 3 of The Reckoning. So the Diddy documentary that's out right now. I am going to have an episode out on that tomorrow. After this, like today, I did a lot of research and found this stuff. But yeah, it's super interesting. Let's get into the lawsuit, dear Chad. Let me make it big so you can follow along with me. Now, a lot of this is new. I want to show you this document that Clayton had filed a few days ago. Now, what this is, we're gonna come back to the blue. This was originally filed, I would say a few days ago, maybe the 7th, and the response came in on the 9th. Clayton, and I'm gonna go to the end so you guys know I'm not bullshitting you. Clayton is representing himself, even as of this week. He said he wanted to go to law school, all of that stuff. Where to go from there? He submitted this on the 7th, and we got a response on the 9th. What does he want? So this is not Clayton, because Clayton does have a lawsuit against Diddy and Cassie and a bunch of other people. This is actually Diddy's federal case. Let's look at the side there. United States plaintiff, Sean Combs defendant. So this is a sentence that Diddy is already serving on. Clayton wants to be recognized as a victim, right? A lot of the people that were trafficked, there's a good portion of them that were men. that don't feel that they had the same advocacy as victims that were women. So Clayton has been like, recognize me as a trafficking victim. And he was supposed to be a witness in Diddy's trial. Originally, they were getting information from him, but he was not called as a witness. So Clayton has his own lawsuit against Diddy and Cassie, but he went to Diddy's docket because I checked both today. This is from Diddy's case file. He filed something to the U.S. District Attorney because it's like, hey, y'all got information from me. You called me as a witness, but like you never put me on the stand. And there are some other intricacies that we'll review together. So again, guys, like I'm going to read it with you. We're learning it together, but I pulled them so that we can learn together in real time, right? So here we go. I'm not taking either side. I'm reading you the lawsuit. So this was filed on Diddy's thing, and it says, please take notice upon the annexed declaration of Clayton Howard, dated December 7th, the memo in law in support thereof, and all prior proceedings said therein. We will move this court, located at this address, to a date and time pursuing the following. First thing he wants. 1, they want the court, this judge, to declare that Clayton Howard is a crime victim entitled to the rights enumerating the Crimes Victims Act. So again, because of gender, he hasn't been declared officially a victim. So that's one of the things that he wants. Next, he wants the United States Attorney's Office, or SDNY, to make sure that there's written confirmation of his victim status in this case. Now, putting on our legal hats. Why? You have your own case against Sean and Cassie, but you wanted to come back to this one to certify that you were a victim. Think about this. I'm not going to answer the question for y'all, but I do want you to think about this. Why? Right? Let me know in the chat. We're going to come back. He came to Diddy's federal suit. We have the civil suit. We're going to go to I have the civil suit too. We're going to read that. But this is the latest on Diddy's case. He came to Diddy's docket for this one. All right. Let's keep going. He wants the United States District Attorney's Office or State's Attorney's Office to provide him with all materials, transcripts, exhibits, blah, blah, blah. He wants discovery related to his victimization. Okay. Not including evidence regarding his trafficking through Backpage.com. Now, the thing is with Backpage.com, that's how Homeboy really got in touch with Diddy and Cassie. That was the website that he was on. There is something federally where they're paying back victims of Backpage.com. So as we ask why, that could be one of the motivations here. Next, he wants the United States Attorney's Office to provide him with complete information regarding restitution procedures, right? Money, including deadlines, required documentation, and enforcement mechanisms. So I could tell he wrote it himself. You're not supposed to put these at the end of legal documents. You're not supposed to do this. My legal writing professor would have a fucking aneurysm if she saw all this right now. Some people do it. In some states, it's okay. At least the way I was taught. That's how I'm just looking at it. I could tell when somebody else wrote it. It's even when you get to section 9, then it ends in a sentence. Okay, I'm not going to quote the grammar, but let's keep going. Okay. He also wants them to provide him with immediate assistance in establishing his his eligibility for the back page remission program, including all necessary documentation of his victim status given the deadline of February 2nd. So he knows the deadline, but he's also directing them to give him the deadlines. And I mean, this is pretty decent to do work on your own. Next, he also wants notice of all future proceedings. So he wants to be included in this Diddy thing. But I think it's the wrong time to do it. It's the wrong time to do it. It's too late. Diddy's already been sentenced. Diddy's serving his time. But you want information from the Diddy case for your civil case. He also wants to be notified if there is any disposition of this case, meaning that when the case ends, any plea agreements, sentencing matters, or any proceedings affecting his rights. Let's go to the top. It was filed on 12/9. It's too late. Diddy's in jail. He's already been sentenced. There have already been plea negotiations. Other proceedings affecting your rights? Yes, I think that's fair. But you want to order the state's attorney office to tell you about everything? He's also saying that he wants the right to be reasonably protected from the accused. That's fair. The right to reasonable, accurate, and timely notice of any public court proceeding involving the crime. That's fair. The right to be heard in any public proceeding in the district court involving sentencing. Now, here's where I have a problem. We're a little late for that one. We're a little late for C. The right to confer with an attorney for the government in the case. That's fine. The right to fully and timely restitution as provided by law. So restitution, what do you want restitution-wise? You want bread? The right to proceeding free from unreasonable delay. Okay. The right to be treated with fairness and with respect for the victim's dignity and privacy. This one's, I think, really what he's getting at. He wants to be recognized as a victim, as a man, right? So this is Clayton, pro se. Pro se means you're representing yourself. And I don't want to dox him here or anything. But this was filed on the 7th when Clayton sent it. But looky here, Chad. On the 9th, the judge responded in blue. The judge ain't even set up a second document. The judge put it on the top of this. I've never seen this from a judge. 3 lines. If the parties would like to respond to this motion and supporting documentation that the court has received, they may do so by December 23rd. So, has anybody seen this before? And shout out to 2 Minutes Approve, who is currently making it rain in chat right now with 20 AV memberships. Thank you, 2 Minutes Approve. If you received a membership, please say thank you. And I'm sorry, Crypto. Crypto's like, I'm here all the time. I never get gifted. I think I might have 20 to give y'all today. But I want you guys to look at this because there is a reason why Clayton wants his victim status to be certified. And I believe that is what we are looking at. He wants that certification for some reason. Now, let's fast forward because you're about to get some real tea. And I went through the feed today. I ain't seen nobody report on this. Cassie has been ducking and dodging. This is a civil case. We're now transitioning to civil. Cassie has been ducking and dodging Clayton's summons to be involved in his civil lawsuit. Cassie filed a notice of appearance yesterday. Clayton's been trying to find her for like 6 months, trying to serve this lawsuit, tell her she's been served, process servers, private investigators, 3 or 4 different addresses. They found her. This next document I'm showing you is Cassie's lawyers entering the case. Thank you, 2 Minute Approve. He said he'd be in and out, but I appreciate it. I appreciate you helping me grow the channel. This is it. Let's look at it. United States District Court of Central California, right? Clayton Howard versus Sean Combs et al., right? This is filed by Cassie's attorneys, and it's the same law firm that represented her in the settlement. Okay, so it gives instructions from the court, like here's how you file an appearance of counsel, a withdrawal of counsel, right? So that means 2 things. Either you're coming in as a lawyer, and that's the appearance. Withdrawal means you're leaving, and it just gives you the California rules on what you need to do if you're doing that. So you fill out this form, right? You have Melody Hahn. She has a California bar number. She's from Wigdor, and that is a law firm representing Cassie. They're based out of New York. And the counsel of record, who are you representing if you're getting in on this case? Defendant Cassandra Ventura. Now, this sucks because I don't know if they spelled her name wrong. I believe there are 2 S's in Cassandra, but maybe that's the right way to spell it. But this is officially filed on record. Now, next section. If you're adding an attorney on the document, how are you doing it? It says, this filing of this form constitutes a first appearance in this case of the attorney listed above. No other members on this attorney's firm or agency have been previously appeared on the case. That's a big deal. Why? Because they say that Cassie has been dodging these subpoenas, but this is a notice of first appearance that was filed yesterday. So now Cassie's team, because I think the judge, and I'll show you the next one, the judge was just like, hey, you can't keep, like, we know who your lawyers are. You can't keep hiding, Cassie. You gotta respond to this lawsuit. At least a response. We know who you are. We know you just got the settlement. And Clayton knows she just got the settlement. And Clayton's like, pay me for my pain and suffering and all the jizz that you and Diddy have played with. I want some of this money. I want some of this money. Right? So that's section 2. First appearance is big because that shows that they've never, responded to this case at all. But now her official attorney on record is showing, hey, we're stepping up. We're here. They're not removing an attorney from the docket, so we skip 3. And then signature. This was signed yesterday. Cassie's team is officially on this case to respond to it. Okay. We need to have a little fun before we go into it, because this case is about to get wild. 49 pages, probably going to read 30 for you. But let me read some super chats. I need some. It's about to get crazy. Let me just read some super chats, and then we'll go into it. But he wants some of that money. Now, there are some things, because I know there are a few people in here that are Cassie supporters, and I respect that. And right now, I'm here only to show you the law of things and these documents, and we can look at them together. But there are some things related to Cassie in here that are pretty tough to listen to. So I'm just letting Cassie supporters know. I'm giving you a warning. It's going to get a little crazy if you haven't read this. Shout out to 2 Minute Approve, who became a new member and then gifted 20 memberships. Thank you, too. I hope you're having a great holiday season. Deandra pops in with another 2, says, AV with a breakdown and debauchery. Boy, this one was full of debauchery. And it's only going to get worse when we get into this document. So thank you, Dee. Shout out to the Tip Network, just the tip with the 20 says AV back on the stream. So fresh and so clean. Yeah, that's right. I haven't streamed in a few days, so I wanted to pop on here because this is so much information. Sometimes it's easier if I give you guys the information in the stream instead of trying to like cram it all in a VOD or a video, a shorter video. I will do a video on this, but like after all the research I did, I was just like, it's probably better for them to see it. And then, you know, we could do shorter versions later. But this is so much here, you know. So thank you. Tip Network. Y'all follow the Tip Network. There's a channel, I think, with 125,000. They're doing their thing. Men's rights, things like that. You know, hip hop adjacent content. If you're interested, please check them out. And if one of the mods would drop a link to the channel, their channel, that'd be great. Jamie, good to see you. Has been with me for 7 months. Is that how long it? Man, the Karen Reed case was 7 months ago. Ay. Time flies. Senator with the 5 says, AV, Senator, good to see you. Literally, I think we're burning that candle out in the living rooms. Thank you again. Holly gifted a membership, gifted another one. Keyshawn, you know what's so crazy? Crypto was like, I never get a membership. You don't get some every single time. Keyshawn, I don't know why. The algorithm loves them. The algorithm loves them, Crypto. But thank you so much, Holly, for gifting that membership. I did see one of them go to Keyshawn, but you gifted 2. So I appreciate that. Crying Freeman X. This Hollywood, they probably just gave 50 a check to promote the doc and put his name on it for all we know. We don't. That's a good point. Ooh. Crying Freeman, that's a good point because we don't know, right? His 50, you guys know 50. He could have went in. I think if you have a scale of 50 Cent going in ism, what do y'all think? I think 20%, 50 going in out of 100. Come on, chat. What do y'all think? 20% of him going in? I would say 20. And 50's very petty. I'm going to save it for episode 3. It's super petty. You can see his thumbprints all over it. I could see where he weighed in. But it's very interesting. Let me know. Paralegal Chris says 20. I agree with you, sis. Tip came back with another 10. Says this interview is booty juice, brown eye views, and freaky deaky. Yeah, it's pretty gross. It's pretty gross. Shout out to 2 Minute Approved again. All right, let's go. Take a sip because this is gonna be all right. Chat, strap in. Let's go with this view. Thank you again to 2 Minute Approved. Let's look at this debauchery. United States District Court, Clayton versus Diddy, Cassie, Bad Boy, Epic. He lists Epic Records twice, so that's a problem. Combs Enterprises, Beverly Hills Hotel, and Doe Corporations 1 through 10. All right, Clayton, what you got? He wants you to know that there is a trigger warning. This document contains highly graphic information of a sexual nature, including sexual assault. This freaking block always bugs me because the first time I've ever seen it in any legal document was the Cassie thing, right? Let's go back in. So a lot of people, including Tyrone Blackburn, now include this big yellow block in legal filings, and that never used to be there. Clayton Howard hereby alleges, as for his complaint, that Diddy, Cassie, Bad Boy Records, Epic Records, and Combs Enterprises and Doe Corporations 1 through 10, as follows. Okay, let me not judge it. Preliminary statement. Clayton brings the civil suit against defendants Diddy and Cassie arising from an 8-year period of systematic sexual exploitation, trafficking, and abuse that occurred between approximately 2009 and 2019. So about 10 years. This case exposes the darker truth. See, this is where I think we're writing a script instead of a legal document. This case exposes the darker truth behind the widely publicized narrative surrounding Cassie's recent civil settlement and the ongoing criminal prosecution of Diddy. See, that's the first paragraph, chat. So there's a darker truth around the settlement and Diddy's case. Oh, Clayton, tell us. Defendant Diddy is a prominent rapper and record executive known by his stage names as Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, and Diddy, who rose to fame in early 1990s with his record Bad Boy Records and is regularly referred to as a hip-hop mogul. Defendant Cassie is a singer, actress, and model who gained prominence in the early 2000s with her single, Me and You, and appeared in films including The Perfect Match, Step It Up. Defendants maintained a highly publicized romantic relationship from 2007 to 2018, during which were both, oh God, let me read that again. Defendants maintained a highly publicized romantic relationship from 2017 to 2018, during which were both toxic individuals addicted to opiates and meth who had no regard for others or the law. Goddamn, we on paragraph 4. Their relationship was categorized by sexually explicit, depraved activity, categorized as swinging, with Diddy harboring a specific fetish for voyeurism. So Diddy was a cuckold. He just wanted to watch. The relationship was abusive, with defendant Combs frequently physically assaulting Cassie in response to domestic incidents neither could emotionally control. Here's another mistake. I can tell he did this himself. I want to correct it. Like, I want to bold it and put it to the left. Like, I just want to fix it. Bold it, put it to the left, underline. That's the next section. His next section is the misleading public narrative. In late 2023, Cassie filed a civil action against Diddy pursuant to the Gender Motivated Violence Act, alleging he didn't cite it. Shit. I have lawyer brain. Alleging that Combs manipulated, abused, and controlled her for over a decade through violent behavior and disturbing demands. She claimed to have spent over a decade trapped in a cycle of abuse, violence, sex trafficking, and including allegations that Diddy forced her to engage in acts with male sex workers while he masturbated and filmed the encounters. The parties settled this action within 24 hours for $20 million. Was it 24 hours? Next. The U.S. District Attorney's Office for SDNY arrested and indicted Diddy for sex trafficking and violations of the Mann Act, with the prosecution's foundation basically largely on the Cassie's allegations. Defendant Combs currently faces trial on RICO charges. See, it's going to be hard. I'm reading this like if I was a law professor. I'm just saying, how do you go from, if you're telling a judge a story, how do you go from 2023 up here? And that's 24. But you got to tell me that. If I'm hearing this case for the first time, if I'm reading it for the first time, you got to be more descriptive. So 6, he should have told us when. He just said subsequently. Contrary to the narrative presented in Cassie's civil complaint and the subsequent criminal prosecution, the truth reveals a far more complex and disturbing reality. Cassie was not merely a victim forced into sexual encounters with male escorts, but rather an active and engaged participant who willingly manipulated and exploited others, including the plaintiff, to satisfy the sexually depraved desires of Diddy and herself. Well, the plot thickens. For more than 8 years, defendants operated a scheme whereby they systematically exploited Clayton through manipulation, coercion, and controlled substances and threats of violence to engage in non-consensual sexual activities for their gratification and commercial purposes. Commercial, really? Commercial purposes. I want to know more about that. Cassie accomplished this exploitation by concealing her identity and fabricating the narrative that she and Diddy were married. She did say that. Using this deception to entice men into drug use and sexual encounters. Defendants drugged plaintiff. So Diddy and Cassie drugged Clayton, or Dave, with controlled substances, including MDMA, in doses 3 times stronger than what Cassie herself consumed. Oh my God. To lower his inhibitions and facilitate sexual exploitation. Cassie used these substances strategically, like a spider catching its prey in its web, to manipulate Dave Clayton into unprotected sexual contact designed to please Diddy and prove her devotion to his appetite. Cassie would command Clayton to masturbate for hours while she pleasured herself to climax, visibly satisfying herself at the sight of Clayton's anatomy. These extended masturbation sessions often left plaintiff's penis bruised, swollen, and injuries about which he would complain to Cassie, seeking consideration. Bruised, swollen. Whoa. Whoa. Chat, whoa. Whoa. Cassie showed no mercy, simply demanding compliance while she pleasured herself in a manner she hoped she would satisfy defendant Diddy, who derived satisfaction from watching her gratification through his voyeuristic desires. During these encounters, Diddy watched silently in the shadows, directing the activities as if he were a film director, orchestrating his vision. Once Cassie was ready to begin, Diddy regulated her responses and controlled the rate of sexual activity, exercising complete dominance over both the plaintiff, so Clayton, and Cassie, and what the couple considered a special shared experience. While Diddy appeared to serve as a protector rather than an oppressor, supporting Cassie's desires and catering her with wine and fruit during the encounters, his presence was deliberately intimidating as part of his role in protecting his partner from the men they exploited. Threats of violence were implied when Diddy wished to assert control. During at least one encounter, he threatened to pistol whip Clayton, directing Cassie to the master's suite to retrieve his firearm. At no time did Cassie display fear when engaged in or about to engage in these encounters. All abuse witnessed by plaintiff occurred during the domestic complication between the defendants, including jealousy, ego, and arrogance, aided by extensive drug use and sleep deprivation, which contributed to violent outbursts from Diddy, who consumed far more drugs than Cassie. So we knew he was doing it. Now, same thing, Clayton. You got to put it over there. You got to put it over to the left, man, and bold it under. Like, oh my God, I wish I wrote this one. Essay and non-consensual recording. What he's trying to do is create a new section for y'all. Over the years, Clayton was assaulted by Cassie, who would manipulate and force herself upon plaintiff during her menstrual cycle against his will. Defendants filmed Clayton compromising encounters without his consent for years, creating recordings that the couple would watch together after the encounters ended and would use for mutual masturbation. While plaintiff confronted Cassie about the recording and vocalized his desire not to be recorded, she explained she enjoyed their relationship and provided her reasons for the recordings. Cassie then opened her MacBook to previous recordings and masturbated to climax in front of plaintiff while watching an encounter involving the two of them, demonstrating her extent of manipulation and control. Same thing. And I want to correct this for him, but commercial sex trafficking. This is what I wanted to know more about, is the word commercial. For more than 5 years, the defendants trafficked Clayton for purposes of sex, using him as an entertainment to satisfy their fetishes and personal ambitions. The couple drugged, manipulated, and traumatized the plaintiff while themselves engaging in a toxic, domestically abusive relationship that often became violent. Cassie had a specific preference in selecting her companions, and chose plaintiff for 8 years over many other available options. As subsequent criminal trial proceedings have revealed, the allegations demonstrate that Cassie deceived, manipulated, and injured plaintiff, and therefore should be held accountable alongside Diddy, as the two were partners in these criminal enterprises. Let's stop for a minute, because Clayton has many pages of this. And this is filed when? July? We're on what? Let me just not lose my place. We are on page 6. Yeah, this is filed June 30th. Oh, shit. When was Diddy? When did the Diddy verdict come out? Okay, July 2nd. So this was filed 3 days before that. Interesting, chat. Let's keep going. Diddy is a prominent rapper. Oh, okay, hold on. We were on page 6. Let me bring us back to where we were. I just wanted the date. Okay, he gives us another section. Obstruction of justice and witness manipulation. Clayton's ability to seek timely legal recourse was deliberately frustrated through a coordinated effort involving his former counsel, who communicated with federal prosecutors without his presence. Oh shit. Tyrone? The plaintiff was advised to remain silent and was manipulated into inaction, with his attorney intentionally delaying action to protect defendant Ventura's credibility. So is he saying that Tyrone told him to not say anything because he wanted to protect Cassie's credibility? Weird. Clayton was specifically advised that he should file a complaint. If he should file a complaint, he would lose credibility before the court, and therefore should refrain from doing so if he wished to do so. That was his right, and tell the truth. His counsel deceived, ignored, and misled him regarding the creation of the initial complaint against the defendants and when it would be filed. Coming for Tyrone here, Chad. Despite serving as a compliant witness for the government and providing information that was later corroborated by investigators, thereby validating his credibility and truthfulness of his statements, federal prosecutors ultimately withheld Clayton's testimony despite its corroborative value and his valid allegations against both defendants. So that's really where you can start to see Clayton having a problem with what happened here. Here's another section that's not properly formatted. Denial of justice and present claims. For many years, plaintiff has lived with this trauma in silence, forced to endure the psychological and physical consequences with no visible avenue for justice. While defendant Cassie's allegations has destroyed Diddy's career, she escaped liability by using allegations of abuse to avoid criminal responsibility for her own actions. Well, shit. Thereby denying victims like Clayton the justice to which they are entitled. With the opening of legislation that granted survivors a look-back window to seek justice for offenders, plaintiff learned he had been given a second chance to obtain justice he deserved. The plaintiff has sought justice for over a year only to be denied through the manipulation of legal professionals, who wish to affect the criminal trial of Sean Combs. He's coming at Tyrone, but he's not naming Tyrone. Mr. Howard was used and manipulated. He made another mistake here. He's talking about himself. He needs to say the plaintiff was used and manipulated. Same thing right here. Paragraph 24 is bolded for no reason. I have lawyer brain. Now, tired of the misconduct and incompetence, he has sought action himself and refuses to remain silent any longer in the face of this systematic exploitation, abuse, and attorney misconduct. This action seeks declaratory, injunctive, and monetary relief under the federal sex trafficking statutes. All of that needs to be capitalized. It's not cited correctly. Shit, man. You need a lawyer to do this. The New York, that needs to be capitalized. State human rights law. The New York Services for Victims of Human Trafficking. He didn't cite any of these laws, right? I don't care how mad you are at people. Get a freaking lawyer to do this for you. This is what we go to school for. Why do you think I keep stopping to fix it? I want to fix it. All these are, this is one that's right. Civil remedy for human trafficking. That site looks right. Okay, I'm going to skip the laws because you did that wrong. Now we get to jurisdiction and venue. Okay, I'm going to skip this. Jurisdiction just means that the court that he submitted this to has the right to hear the case, and he properly submitted it. Venue is proper, meaning that you pick the right court as well. So this has gone further down the line, so he did that correctly. He talks about the parties, so he talks about himself and that he's a resident of New York, New Jersey. Okay. He was recruited and manipulated by Diddy, Cassie, bad boy. He does need to define who those parties are now. It looks like he does that. Good job, good job, good job. Skipping all of this. Okay, let's get to his facts. Because here, I do have OCD player brain. It is weirdly written, like, because, and I explained that, Miriam. Because it's not coming through his attorney, it's coming through him. So buckle up, because the facts section, if we just saw that at the top, let's see what he has in his facts section. Because the facts section is really where this is a T. This is really where you tell the story, right? He kind of did too much of that at the top. It should be in this facts section. But let's see what he has here. I'm a little scared, to be honest. All right. This is how Clayton meets Diddy and Cassie. It says he met them under fraudulent circumstances. Holy shit. Okay. Dave met Cassie, whose name was Jackie Starr, in late 2009. Cassie, who identified herself as Jackie Starr, invited Dave to the London hotel located in New York to serve as a male companion and provide her with time and company in the privacy of her hotel room from agreed upon hourly rate. Cassie attempted to conceal her identity through the use of makeup, a large red wig, dim lighting in the room, which created poor visual conditions. He needs to bring this sentence up to connect it. Cassie failed to inform Dave upon the meeting that another party would be present. So like I said, guys, this is coming from his side of the case. He's just like, okay, I agreed that I would go to, do this with her, but she did not tell me that another person would be in the room. Immediately after greeting Mr. Howard, Cassie offered him alcohol and a marijuana cigarette and then instructed him to be seated in the living room. The two parties spoke for approximately 30 minutes before becoming familiar and relaxed. Same thing, he needs to connect these sentences. After 30 minutes, Cassie asked to see the personal identification for him for safety purposes, so she would know who he really was. Same thing. Why is this K capitalized? This document's a fucking mess. I'm going to keep going. So she asked for his ID. Having nothing to hide and wanting to make a woman he assumed alone comfortable, he provided Jackie Starr with his New York State driver's license, revealing his true identity. Cassie informed him of her intentions by standing and requesting that he expose his genitals. After the influence of the substances provided, Clayton agreed to Cassie's request and she claimed to be impressed. What? Show me your, just show it to me. Show me the D. Let me see it. I want to see the D. That's what Cassie said? I know, Keyshawn. It's just this whole thing is just so bad. So apparently Cassie said, show me the D. And she claimed to be impressed. Cassie then informed Clayton that they were not alone and that her husband was upstairs, but assured him that the situation was acceptable because her husband, in quotations, had consented to her having a male companion visit to see where things might lead. Cassie explained that she and her husband, he didn't quote it there, were participants in the lifestyle, which is quoted, and that her husband, quoted again, he forgot it up here, preferred to watch her be pleasured by men with larger male reproductive organs. Oh my God. Cassie stated that she preferred men with darker complexions, complimenting, they spelled that wrong, Mr. Howard's complexion before excusing herself to retrieve her husband so activities could begin. Cassie retrieved Diddy, whom she introduced as her husband. You see how he does that but forgets to do it up there? And presented to Mr. Howard under the alias of Frank. Frank Black, Diddy's alias. Diddy greeted Mr. Howard with indifference and then retrieved baby oil and Astroglide lubricant, both of which had been positioned on a platter on the center of the table. Diddy then retreated to a darkened corner of the room where poor lighting made it difficult to observe his movements clearly. Mr. Howard was instructed not to address Diddy, aka Frank Black, directly and to only speak to Cassie, aka Jackie. Diddy concealed his identity by wearing a baseball cap pulled low over his eyebrows and a cloth tied around his nose and mouth. What the hell? Even if you are a sex worker, somebody just come in and they all wrapped up like that and you can't see them and there's nothing you can do. And just, yeah, my name is Frank Black. I can't do this to Boston, but like, you know, Frank Black? Who is Frank Black? You don't think that was weird on day one that this man was all huddled up like that? Don't go back. What are you doing? Okay. Baseball cap pulled low over his eyebrows and a cloth tied around his nose and mouth, which obscured his facial features and made him unrecognizable. When Diddy did speak, it was to inquire whether Cassie was acceptable or if she needed anything. Diddy also provided direction to both Mr. Howard and Cassie, regulating the pace of their contact, as will be further explained in subsequent paragraphs. Oh my God. Oh, my legal writing professor would have slapped me for this last part of the sentence. Like, you don't need that. Oh, man, he doesn't know what he's doing. All right, next. You don't represent yourself. This is why. The first encounter in the structure of the activities. 55. The first encounter served as Clayton's initial education into what would be required of him by the defendants, with all subsequent encounters following an identical structure that forms the basis of the description of all encounters described in here and after within this complaint. Ninja, just say, this is what they taught me in one sentence. God damn. During each encounter, Mr. Howard had no autonomy. He was required to follow orders and was expected not to disobey. All right, chat 56. No autonomy means you had no control to do anything. Put a 1 if you think he had no autonomy in the chat. Put a 2 if you're like, Ninja, you can walk out. I mean, he has been in interviews saying that they took his phone and his clothes and he was not able to leave the room. I think deeper in, that makes sense. But remember, this paragraph tells you that we are at the first encounter, okay? First. And the structure. This is how he's introduced. This is how he was groomed to deal with these people. Now, I'm not calling the guy a liar. I'm not. But I'm just saying, you know, because nobody knew about, I mean, I didn't even know about this filing until to the Diddy Doc. I didn't know this man existed. And even if it's Tyrone Blackburn and Tyrone will put pictures and stuff in your joint, but I think Tyrone might have used AI to write his legal filing, but I think he could have done a little bit of a better job than this. Mira's like, I'm calling him a liar. I don't care. Like, well, let's keep reading though. Let's be, you know, objective here. So, financial compensation was used as a form of dominance once Mr. Howard had committed any activity within the encounter. Mr. Howard was instructed by Cassie to remove all his clothing upon entry to the suite and to surrender his clothing and phone. So I did tell you guys that. His phone was turned off and surrendered with his clothing to Cassie, which prevented him from leaving by choice. So that's what he means by that part, is he couldn't leave by choice without compromising his safety. Some suites required keys to access floors and had no access to stairwells without triggering alarms, making escape difficult. Mr. Howard was instructed by Cassie to apply baby oil to his nude body. When Mr. Howard applied the baby oil to his hand and began to distribute it evenly, Cassie would use her own bottle to saturate Mr. Howard's chest, abdomen, arms with oil before stepping closer and attempting to apply it evenly herself. Cassie often sprayed Mr. Howard with baby oil during the application to make distribution over his skin easier. She skeeted on him with the baby oil bottle. It was like, skeet. Jeez. Cassie often sprayed him with it. The defendant structured these encounters in 4 phases. Oh, there was 4 phases. First phase, no touch. All right. Phase 1, no touch. Phase 2, soft foreplay. Okay, soft foreplay. Phase 3, fellatio. Phase 4, intercourse. 4 phases, which were directed by Diddy for the purpose of controlling Cassie's arousal and timing of climax. During these phases, Mr. Howard had no input or ability to offer suggestions. It was simply expected to comply. Through the use of manipulation and financial coercion, Mr. Howard would remain in the 4 phases for hours, which with each individual stage lasting for over an hour. That is a long time. Cassie controlled the start of the activity and would seek Diddy's permission regarding whether she would progress to the next stage. And if Diddy was not ready, he would refuse permission, but he often granted Cassie permission to masturbate if she requested. Once the activity began, Diddy controlled its progression and pace, seeking to control Cassie's desires while pleasuring himself rather than directly participating. These prolonged masturbation sessions frequently caused skin tears and scabs on Mr. Howard's penis, causing him severe pain and scarring. Man, that sounds like it hurts. Wow. Mr. Howard stood covered in baby oil. Cassie and Diddy would masturbate while watching him, which gave him constant feelings of uneasiness and uncertainty. While Mr. Howard was ordered to stand nude, both defendants would pleasure themselves to the point of climax. Interesting. Both defendants would be intoxicated, Diddy and Cassie, using substances and alcohol to alter their moods and keep them awake. Some of the substances were Schedule 1 narcotics, which ones? Including amphetamines and opiates. The specific drugs used included ecstasy, GHB, ketamine, cocaine, MDMA, Molly, and marijuana. Cassie in the early and middle years was extremely physical with Mr. Howard and would orally pleasure him for periods exceeding 1 hour at times. Girl, you down there for a minute. Dehydrated from drugs, lack of water, and constant entanglement in oral sex, Cassie would often perform oral sex until she had to stop when her jaw became sore from prolonged activity. Man. That's how you know he wrote it. Okay. When intercourse was to occur, Cassie's arousal would be so heightened that she would often beg Diddy to allow her to engage. Mr. Howard was directed to engage in contact with Cassie until she climaxed and was only allowed to stop once Cassie reached climax. Once Diddy consented to contact, Cassie controlled the degree of intimacy, including kissing, the intensity of kissing, and whether she would engage in unprotected sex, as will be described in later paragraphs. Stop saying that, dude. Once the climax of Cassie occurred, the cycle would be repeated. One encounter with Cassie could consist of 15 to 30 individual sessions, each including all 4 stages. The number of sessions also depended on the number of days Mr. Howard would be detained. See, when he uses the word detained, I'm not giving out legal advice, but like what I would have done, and if you did study tort law, there's like another tort called, when you put somebody in a confined room and they don't let you leave. What is it? Involuntary incarceration or something like that. I'm saying it wrong. I know I am because it's been a while since I cracked that book. Like we would study cases where if you were at a store and they thought that you were the one stealing when somebody else was stealing and they put you in a room, they're holding you against your will because they're not the police, right? False imprisonment. Thank you so much, City of Champs. Yes, that's what I'm thinking of. False imprisonment. So if he was really smart about this, he should have put false imprisonment in there as well. Because if you're saying they have my phone, they have my clothes, they're not letting me leave, you have other claims in here if you did this really right. But thank you so much. Let's keep going. Okay, so when I see the word detained, that's what I think of. If Mr. Howard attempted to leave, he would be coerced by Cassie into waiting or ignored if he knocked on the suite's master bedroom door seeking to retrieve his items to leave. Next section. Cassie manipulates him into MDMA use and unprotected sex. During the trial testimony of Cassie, Mr. Howard heard her statements regarding Diddy and how she allegedly had been forced to have unprotected sex with male entertainers. That's another thing he has to get more specific on, is when he says during the trial testimony of Cassie. Which trial? Tell me, what are you talking about? Which trial? Diddy's trial? Say that. Cassie claimed to have never wanted such activities and to have engaged in them as a result of Diddy's abuse and attempts to blackmail her. Through this allegation and substantiated in one instance during the trial, it is not the same in all. It also does not completely substantiate all of Cassie's claims of force coercion, as every instance is not the same. Let me read that again. Although this allegation was substantiated in one instance during the trial, it is not the same in all. It also does not completely substantiate all of her claims of force and coercion, as every instance is not the same. Okay, I think I see what he's saying here. So he's saying, okay, that this allegation was substantiated once, but he's like, that's not the only time that this happened. And not every instance is the same. That could be a little bit more clearer. Mr. Howard confidently asserts that Diddy did not force Cassie to engage in a sexual encounter after the overdose she experienced while in his presence. Now we get an overdose? Man, where is that coming from? It was Cassie who begged for the encounter despite Diddy's repeated attempts to end the night due to the overdose. What fucking overdose? This is what I mean with legal writing. 85, I don't see anything about an overdose. 86, I don't see anything about an overdose. 87, nothing about an overdose. Now we get an overdose in 88. This is such a mess. 89. Mr. Howard confidently asserts that it was Cassie who initiated unprotected sexual contact with him, and that Diddy had no knowledge of it until it was over. Once Diddy, who was observing the activity, noticed that there was no condom being used, he stopped the activity and confronted Cassie about her actions. In response, Cassie lied to Diddy, falsely informing him that she had reviewed Mr. Howard's STD results, and he confirmed that he was completely clean. Mr. Howard, immediately conscious of the lie, interrupted and told Diddy the truth, that it was Cassie who told him. And it was Cassie, which was that Cassie, what Cassie said to him was false. Now, this is how I know Clayton is just rattling, and I don't say that to be disrespectful. He's much more clear telling these stories in the interviews than how it's coming off on paper. Because I know exactly what he's talking about here, because I watched a few of the Art of Dialogue videos this morning. I didn't watch them all, but I know what he's talking about because he had described this encounter in that. But that's why these headers are important. That's why the background is important, because if a judge is reading this for the first time, you want everything to be super, super clean and clear. You don't want them to have the same questions I'm having as I read it. You know, like we want to make sure that we're reading this and everything is crystal clear, and, you know, instances aren't coming from the left or the right. You know, they need to all be linear. So that's my only critique. Okay, so Mr. Howard, immediately conscious of Cassie's lie, interrupted and told Diddy the truth, which was that what Cassie said to him was a lie. Then Howard provided his actual STD test to Diddy directly from his email. He said, here's my quest results. I'm clean. I don't know about her. Once the unprotected sex began, Clayton would be pressured into continuing it by both parties. Mr. Howard was told that he would be the exclusive partner of Cassie, and it was agreed that he would be compensated in exchange for clean test results and continued exceptional service. What the fuck? Does it really say exceptional services? Okay. 95 says that he had to do this for clean test results and continued exceptional services. The arrangement was agreed to after Mr. Howard was coerced into participating into an orgy with Cassie, Diddy, and another male provider named Daniel Phillip. They were in a foursome. The goal of the orgy was to determine who could please Cassie the longest without issue. Clayton or Mr. Phillip. The two men were offered substances and expected to perform continuously, taking turns with Cassie, who was an eager and willing participant. That's how I know he went to the trial. This encounter lasted for nearly 2 days before it ended. When Mr. Howard outlasted Mr. Phillip, look at the position of that sentence. Look at this big gap. When Mr. Howard outlasted Mr. Phillip, he was declared the winner and the exclusive arrangement was proposed. Drug use was the major component of the encounters during the majority of the meetings. Mr. Howard did not engage in harder drugs for the first 2 years until they were offered to him by Cassie. Mr. Howard, seeking to stay awake in response to the repeated requests to satisfy Cassie, began to have difficulty staying awake as more was demanded of him. Cassie offered Mr. Howard ecstasy, claiming it to be light and harmless in the dosage she would provide. Mr. Howard later learned from Cassie that she had tripled his dosage in order to get him freaky, as he recalls, and to increase the intensity of the encounter, believing the two are in a monogamous relationship since the exit of Mr. Phillip. How are you saying monogamous relationship when she's literally with Diddy? Okay. Trying to understand. That's all, chat. Okay. They thought they were monogamous, with Mr. Phillip being gone, always receiving clean test results, and when taking STD tests and through the inducement of drugs and alcohol, the unprotected sex continued. Mr. Howard impregnated Cassie, who ultimately decided to abort the pregnancy when she was unable to locate Clayton for a period of time. Even after aborting a pregnancy, Cassie sought to have unprotected sex during the encounters for years after. After reconnecting when separated for almost 8 months, Cassie confessed to Mr. Howard at the New York's Gramercy Park Hotel that she had aborted the pregnancy created by Mr. Howard. Despite this revelation, Miss Ventura Cassie insisted on unprotected sex during that encounter, which lasted several days as the two reconnected after the separation. It was during his victory in the encounter with Daniel Phillip that Cassie drugged Mr. Howard with triple dosage of ecstasy and manipulated him in engaging in unprotected sex. Oh, you just caught a live inspirational truth. This one. Let's keep going with the debauchery. Clayton is drugged by Diddy and Cassie. Cassie drugs him. Here's how. He recalls being drugged by Cassie, who admitted to doing so once he contacted her again after the initial incident. Specifically, Mr. Howard was given ecstasy by Cassie after he complained of an exhaustion due to the demands placed upon him during the encounters. Instead of providing coffee or an energy drink, this has to be the funniest legal document. This is why you don't represent yourself. Instead of offering me a Red Bull or coffee, this bitch gave me ecstasy. I don't mean to call her the B word, but that's essentially what he's saying in that sentence. She didn't offer me coffee or a Red Bull. Oh. Instead of providing coffee or an energy drink, Cassie retreated to the bedroom and returned with an ecstasy pill. Mr. Howard complains of his disdain for pills. Cassie crushed the pill and put it in a drink she prepared, informing him that she only included a small dosage. Having known Cassie for several years at this point, Mr. Howard trusted her and consumed the drink prepared by Cassie. Mr. Howard recalls feeling hot and beginning to sweat uncontrollably within several moments of the consumption. When he complained of this to Cassie, her response was a passionate kiss before she aggressively grabbed a hold of his penis and placed it in her mouth. Mr. Howard recalls never feeling so intoxicated in his life with the drug enhances all of his senses and desires. He and Cassie began with condoms that they were removed by Cassie, who quickly rolled off the protection. You know this ninja wrote this. You know he wrote this document. Rolled off. What lawyer's going to write that? And pressured unprotected contact while Mr. Howard's inhibitions were lowered. Mr. Howard and Cassie would engage in the encounter for over 2 days, while Diddy watched and on occasion engaged in contact with Cassie. While the parties were all exhausted, Mr. Howard was given back his belongings and allowed to leave. He was compensated with additional funds due to his condition. Caused by dehydration and lack of sleep. Mr. Howard left confused, dehydrated, and disoriented, ultimately pulling his vehicle over and parking on the side of a grocery store. He woke up hours later, weak and sweating. He was able to get help by calling an Uber, which brought him home to his girlfriend. Oh my God. He spent 3 days recovering from the encounter. After Mr. Howard confronted Cassie during the following encounter, she confessed to drugging him. Following this confession, he did not accept beverages from her except 3. Except 3 times he accepted a drink over the next 5 years. He wrote this. The final drink led to a physical assault on Cassie. Wait, who was the final drink led to a physical assault on Cassie? Go to 128. Following this confession, he did not accept beverages from her, except 3 times he accepted a drink over the next 5 years. The final drink led to a physical assault on Miss Ventura. I want to correct this document. From who? That's a cliffhanger. 129 is who got assaulted? Who assaulted who? Oh my God. All right, next section. Diddy drugs Mr. Howard. Mr. Howard was drugged by Diddy in the Trump property at the Columbus Circle in New York City. Columbus Circle what? Trump property. Whatever. During the encounter, Diddy offered Mr. Howard a pink substance in a small plastic bag he described as pink MDMA or pink Molly. Mr. Howard, who only indulged in drugs with Cassie, was introduced with both Molly and ecstasy by Cassie for purposes of enhancing their sexual encounters. Mr. Howard's knowledge of designer drugs was insufficient, and therefore he did not trust the unknown substance at first when offered. Diddy began to hint at Cassie's insistence on the indulgence, explaining she may be angry if he did not partake. Diddy had never offered him drugs before this point, and the two had developed a mutual respect during the years of contact connected by Cassie. Against his better judgment, Mr. Howard agreed to consume a small dosage, hoping it would satisfy the demand and end the matter for the night. Diddy retreated to the master suite, and within minutes, Mr. Howard recalls becoming extremely warm before he began to sweat uncontrollably. He began to have violent spasms, which curled him over, forcing him to crawl to a nearby bathroom. At no time did either Cassie or Diddy enter the master suite. Once in the bathroom, Mr. Howard began to vomit uncontrollably. The pain from his stomach was so intense and he could not stop all the sweat no matter how much he wiped. The vomiting lasted several minutes until there was nothing left to regurgitate. Mr. Howard lay dizzy and weak on the bathroom floor for several minutes before he regained the strength to stand and approach the door. It was Diddy who came upon the weekend and disoriented Mr. Howard. Noticing the visible change, Diddy inquired about his condition. Mr. Howard recalls being afraid to confess his condition. Mr. Howard recalls being afraid to confess his condition, but he began to feel so sick that he confessed his condition to Diddy. Diddy examined him briefly and agreed he did not look good. Diddy turned to enter the master suite and asked Mr. Howard to wait. Diddy and Cassie exited the suite together. When Cassie asked what was wrong, Mr. Howard informed her that what Diddy had given him was responsible. When Cassie asked what was wrong, Mr. Howard informed her that what Diddy had given him was responsible. What? 51. Cassie asked Diddy what he had given Mr. Howard, and Diddy's response was the pink shit. When Mr. Howard responded that Diddy told him it was Molly, it was Cassie who informed him that the substance he had been given was not Molly. Oh my God. Mr. Howard was given $1,500 and released. He managed to exit the hotel and walk over 40 blocks in New York in December conditions, sweating uncontrollably and afraid. Finally, around Union Square, located in Lower Manhattan, he regained enough of himself to call a friend and ask for help. He was picked up on a side block and taken home to recover. Next section. Diddy and Cassie coerced him into trafficking. Mr. Howard was flown at special request of Cassie from New York to Miami and to LA numerous times to entertain Cassie. Cassie would directly call Mr. Howard for encounters and on occasions threatened or pressured him to become available. The trafficking began shortly after Mr. Howard's victory over Daniel Phillip, the other male provider who was pitted against him in a sexathon, as later described by Cassie. As part of the reward, he began to receive perks like travel and small gifts given to him by Cassie, like she's Delta now. Mr. Howard would be contacted and asked if he was available to fly out to a location. In the beginning, it was exciting and flattering to experience such an attractive woman hungry for his attention. Over time, Mr. Howard became aware that this was much more than that. The first instance of trafficking occurred when Mr. Howard was flown to Miami from New York after getting a call from Cassie. It was cold in New York, and Cassie's call on a freezing winter day seemed like a gift for Mr. Howard. A flight was booked using JetBlue, which Cassie paid for, and Mr. Howard was off to Miami. Mr. Howard met the couple at the Mandarin, a hotel property located in the Miami area. Mr. Howard checked into a suite under the name Frank Black, which was given to him by Cassie during the ride from the airport to the property. During all instances of sex trafficking, Mr. Howard would be presented to hotel staff as security for Bad Boy, Cassie, and Diddy. Mr. Howard would spend days servicing Cassie, waiting to be released so he could return home to his normal life. He was asked to come for one day, but was not released until 3 days later. Mr. Howard was inconvenienced, but felt intimidated by the lifestyle of the couple, so he endured, hoping to be released sooner than he was. Mr. Howard would be flown to Miami many times where he was introduced to drug use, alcohol, and prolonged unprotected sex with Cassie. Cassie repeatedly stated to Mr. Howard how she hated condoms and they irritated her. It was for this reason she was reluctant to use condoms, as she would state they irritated her and created a smell. It was during an encounter at the Beverly Hills Hotel in LA where Cassie forced herself onto Mr. Howard during her menstrual cycle. All right, if you're squeamish, warning. This is the part I was telling you about. As will be explained in a later paragraph. Stop saying that, dude. This was not an accident. but a calculated disregard for a plaintiff as punishment for refusing to comply with Cassie's command to fly to LA. Once Mr. Howard was under the control of the defendants, he was given no means to return to his home state without satisfying Cassie. By the use of coercion and fraud, Cassie would lure Mr. Howard to her with promises of gifts and favors to entice him. Defendants would use Mr. Howard for days as a sex slave, satisfying their own physical and physiological needs. Defendants lacked regard for the health and safety of Mr. Howard, as is now known by dozens of men, revealed to be part of this massive deception created by the defendants. Now, what I want you guys to realize too is when you do a header, right, it's really telling the judge who's reading it what they're about to see. So if the header says Cassie and Diddy coerced you into sex trafficking, tell me how. Show me laws. Show me how those laws are broken. That's how you legally write. You don't tell me about, your experience. I mean, you can, you should, but it still needs to be a mixture of laws to fully substantiate what your claim is, right? Because this is a complaint. These are claims against the parties that you're suing. You got to be very clean here. I'm getting a headache. Let me take a sip of the tea. It's going down. All right, Section 6. Cassie assaults Mr. Howard in that hotel. The defendants sex trafficked Mr. Howard in LA and arranged that he be brought to them at the Beverly Hills Hotel. Upon arrival, he was instructed to wait, but feeling uncomfortable being in a new city in the middle of the night, the plaintiffs decided to go outside. He decided to go outside. Within minutes, he was contacted by Diddy, who instructed him to come back in the hotel. He was told to inform the employee at the elevator that Mr. Howard worked for Diddy and was expected. The hotel employee once told Mr. Howard was an employee of Diddy and ushered him to the penthouse suites of the Beverly Hills Hotel. He entered the suite into an environment strangely different from past encounters. No candles were lit, as it had been custom during every encounter over the years. Cassie was angry with him. This anger originated from his decision to spend his anniversary with his own partner and to not fly to LA that day at the invitation of Cassie. But here you are. Through the use of a manipulation and physical positioning coupled with the pressure of the presence of Diddy, Cassie forced a sexual encounter upon him. She seduced him into complying with her, then removed his clothing. Once his clothing was removed, she manipulated him into foreplay into a compromised position on the sofa. Once on the sofa, she began kissing him, attempting to arouse him into participating in the sexual activity. Mr. Howard remembers these things felt strange, so he repeatedly asked her to wait. But Cassie ignored him, pinning him with her waist and hips to the couch. Cassie took hold of his penis and quickly inserted it into herself. The sensation overwhelmed him, causing difficulties when he tried to use his motor functions. Jesus Christ. Cassie finished quickly, and it was then that Mr. Howard was able to remove her and reach for a nearby light so that he could see what was going on. Mr. Howard discovered that Cassie was menstruating, and it appeared heavy. Cassie pretended to be surprised, but later revealed that she was aware of her menstruation, but didn't think it would be heavy. Mr. Howard remembers becoming angry, asking why she would have done that to him. Cassie, drunk and visibly intoxicated, laughed it off and informed the plaintiff it wasn't a big deal. An argument ensued, which was cut short by Diddy, who called Cassie into the bedroom after apologizing to Mr. Howard, then asked that he remain calm. Cassie re-entered the room. Diddy admitted that Cassie was aware but intoxicated and disregarded his feelings. He provided him with substantial bills and asked him to go to a suite that had been prepared for his stay for the hotel until the next day, later in the next day. And he did talk about this in one of the Art of Dialogue interviews. He was just like, there's blood everywhere. I couldn't believe it. And then Diddy gave me money. So it's like, hey, listen, she was mad at you. Don't get mad at her. We have another room for you. Go downstairs, sleep it off, and we'll go from there. Right? Motor functions is right. Cassie later apologized for how she had treated him, blaming intoxication and hormones due to her cycle. Cassie would often order Mr. Howard to masturbate for her visual pleasure. Under the influence of substances, her requests would last for hours without consideration for his well-being. He suffered injuries such as tears to the shaft of his penis. Oh my God. Which eventually resulted in skin peeling and scabbing. Ouch. These injuries were a result of the prolonged periods of self-directed masturbation at the order of Cassie. Ooh. Chad, I mean, we're almost done. We're almost there. This is hard. Section 7. Mr. Howard contracts an STD from Cassie. Cassie's disregard for the health and safety of others while attempting to satisfy the sexual fantasies of her lover caused personal injury to Mr. Howard when he contracted an STD from her during an encounter where the two engaged in unprotected sex. That is the longest sentence. Although he met Cassie as a male companion, he was STD-free and rarely had unprotected sexual contact. While engaged in the coercion of Diddy and Cassie, Mr. Howard was in a committed monogamous relationship, which had begun before he met Cassie. What? While engaged in the coercion of Diddy and Cassie, he was in a committed monogamous relationship. Aren't you an escort? Besides his partner, Cassie was the only other sexual partner Mr. Howard did not use condoms with. Oh, I want to just correct this paper. I want to be a teacher. During the time of contraction, Mr. Howard had been semi-retired, as a male provider, with Cassie being his last client before he exited completely. Okay, all right, fine. He was gainfully employed in a committed relationship with a partner, and he lived with them at least 7 days a week. I probably would have led this section with that because I had so many questions reading it. Shortly after one encounter, Mr. Howard began to feel strange sensations when urinating. This quickly worsened, causing him to immediately consult a diagnostic center to have his blood and urine tested. The results were returned, with Mr. Howard having contracted chlamydia. And I remember telling you guys at the beginning, there are curables and incurables. This one is a curable. Several weeks later, when Mr. Howard saw Cassie again, the STD came up in the conversation when Cassie revealed she had contracted it and politely advised Mr. Howard to get himself checked, also blaming the infidelity committed by Diddy for her infection. The reckless conduct of the defendants jeopardized the health and well-being of Mr. Howard. Defendants' lifestyles and activities created the threat of substantial risk, which was minimized to Mr. Howard by the information the defendants withheld. 8. Mr. Howard witnesses horrific acts of domestic violence against Cassie. I want to know why he put this section in here. I want to see what happened to you. If I'm a judge reading it, what happened to you? Why are we pursuing this lawsuit? Why should we give you a demand for a jury trial? What happened to you? Let's keep going. Over the span of a decade, Mr. Howard became an unwilling witness to numerous acts of physical domestic violence committed against Cassie. This violence has been attributed to forced labor, sexual acts of depravity, where Cassie claimed she was forced to participate in encounters. Mr. Howard's reality is far different from Cassie's. He recalls in vivid detail circumstances that differ greatly from what has been reported by Cassie regarding her abuse. Diddy would assault Cassie in response to a variety of different factors. These included jealousy, arrogance, and perceived slights, perceived disrespect, perceived attempts to challenge him, and more. But during no encounter was Cassie ever assaulted for a perceived lack of interest, hesitation, poor performance, or direct refusal to engage in encounters. Chat. I mean, collapsed 218 and 219. I don't care about the reason for. Okay, I don't think this is necessary to break down when abuse happened. Oh, I hate when non-lawyers write stuff. I really do. Mr. Howard recalls Diddy's assault on you forgot a period. Cassie in NYC in New York after a perceived slight he falsely assumed to be validated. He did so by punching her twice in the chest in the presence of Mr. Howard. Mr. Howard would witness Mr. Combs grabbing, kicking, and shoving Cassie in response to domestic arguments. On another occasion, Mr. Howard witnessed Diddy assault Cassie for making Mr. Howard a drink despite being told not to do so by Diddy. Another, Diddy assaulted Cassie because he assumed Cassie was mocking his penile size when he attempted to bed her immediately after Mr. Howard had finished. This seems so much like a setup. I'll tell y'all what I mean in a minute. And instances of DV and abuse experienced by Mr. Howard traumatized him for years after they occurred. Mr. Howard has made an unwillingness to witness and further be victimized by this powerful couple who totally disregarded unless they needed his penis. Who sent this to me? Just nuke 225. Look at the next one. When his penis was needed, he would be coerced, manipulated, and then seduced into drug use and compliance. These acts and their traumatic effect entitle Mr. Howard to damages and relief within this action being put forth. Take 225 out now. Like, what do you mean? When your penis was needed? I cannot believe, chat, I'm reading a freaking complaint with a sentence that says when his penis was needed. What are we on, OnlyFans, little gaming channel? Oh my God. Can y'all type TLGs? I needed that break. Thank you so much, little gaming channel. Let us pray for the little gaming channel for coming in at the right time with a mega super chat here for $100. Thank you so much, brother. I really needed that break because this document is starting to really tick me off. Clayton's representing himself, but there's a lot of tea here. So I do need to take the legal analysis hat off and read through it with you. There's a lot of tea, but he is keeping his penis at the forefront. Oh my God, little gaming chat. I can't believe we're doing this. He said, so Cassie was a victim, a freak, and a co-conspirator. What a tangled web they have weaved. That's right. Because I do think that there are parts of his story that are facts, because you just don't make stuff up. Do I wish he had a lawyer write this? Yes. He is representing himself as of, honestly, today, guys. I went in the court filings today. The last filing had his name signed on it, pro se. Right? So I really hope this man gets an attorney. But man, thank you so much, TLGC, for becoming your stream sponsor. Y'all check out the little gaming channel as well. He has a channel about gaming, and it's pretty cool. It's really fun to watch him play video games, do all that stuff, but he's also just an amazing person. He's one of the pillars of my channel, has sponsored so many content creators out here. He does not have to do that. But whenever he comes through, I love it because it even on stressful days like this, I've been going for 3.5 hours. I'm looking at it like, man, you know, I've got really good supporters out there that know the work that we're doing, and how much it means, you know. Hi, corporate America. She's in here as well. She says, yeah, I'm hollering. Girl, I can't. I mean, TLGC is sponsoring this one. I have to say, this has to have been the most difficult filing I've ever read. Like, difficult in legal wording, but also just, it's a mess. Like, you can't make this shit up. Oh, Cassie should go away for, you know, doing it with me when she was menstruating. I mean, if she did it purposely, I get that, but like, is this a crime? But this man is like, nah, I mean, listen, he's from the North, New Yorkers. Like, no. He was like, it looked like a bloody murder stream. Oh my goodness. Okay, let me get back on task and we're gonna finish this. Because is there a section 9? God damn, there's a section 9. All right, thank you so much to our stream sponsor, TLGC. And y'all follow TLGC. Thank you so much, Nurse Janice, for dropping the link to his channel. If you're in chat right now, please check him out. All right, chat, let's get back to the debauchery. I'm scared. I am scared. Where do we leave off? Oh, yes. When his penis was needed, he would be coerced, manipulated, and then seduced into drug use into compliance. These acts and their traumatic effect entitled Mr. Howard to damages and relief within the action being put forth. Next section. Mr. Howard cooperates with the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York. This is probably the most important part of this long-ass filing. In mid-December of 2023, about a month after Cassie's settlement with Diddy, agents from the Department of Homeland Security Investigations contacted Mr. Howard regarding his encounter with Diddy and Cassie, requesting that he come in for an interview. Having no experience in law at the time, Mr. Howard contacted his local criminal attorney, who was also not an expert in federal criminal law. In response, the U.S. Attorney's Office provided counsel to advise and represent Mr. Howard during the interview for legal purposes. So I hope that's court appointed. Mr. Howard spent the next year and a half as a cooperating government witness for the Southern District of New York. Mr. Howard provided airline payment receipts, boarding passes, dates, and photos of hotels to the government. Oh, okay. More importantly, Mr. Howard provided corroboration of illegal activities. Mr. Howard would corroborate a decade of illegal activity beginning in 2009 and concluded in 2019, so 10 years. During this time period, he witnessed assaults against Cassie, drug use, illegal activity, and witnessed. Oh my God, Clayton, witnessed what? Witnessed what? Oh, I want to write this so bad. I want to write it. Mr. Howard was additionally drugged by both Cassie and Diddy on 2 separate occasions. Mr. Howard was the male provider who impregnated Cassie after an encounter in October of 2013. As the interview process progressed, Mr. Howard was asked for details and he recalled them. Prosecutor Maureen Comey assisted with Mr. Howard in a method of recollection by instructing him during the interview to write down his memories as he recalled them, due to the length of time that elapsed since the conclusion of the relationship. Mr. Howard then could use those notes and present them to prosecutors who would fact-check the dates and locations for evidence that supported his allegations. The U.S. Attorney was able to establish Mr. Howard's credibility after investigating his claims. The U.S. Attorney verified the encounters at the Gramercy Park Hotel in New York, the Mandarin in Miami, the One Residences in Miami, the SLS in Miami, the London in New York, the Essex House in New York, the Intercontinental in New York, the Trump Hotel in New York, and the Downtown Beverly Hills Hotel. Mr. Howard verified sexual assault allegation within this complaint when he provided supporting travel fare receipts for his departure and arrivals to LA on the morning he was assaulted. As the investigation continued, the U.S. attorney became aware of criminality and the actions of Cassie. Because Cassie was not the target of the investigation, Mr. Howard's allegations against her were not acted upon. Attorneys provided the U.S. attorney worked to dissuade Mr. Howard from filing civil action against Diddy and Cassie. The attorneys argued that the allegation against Cassie would expose her to criminal liability and therefore might damage her credibility as a witness in her public image. Mr. Howard, as a client, directly instructed attorney Tyrone Blackburn to file his action against the defendants before the expiration of the statute made available to adult survivors passed in New York. That SA Act, you guys remember that in November of 2023? Mr. Blackburn began as directed by first contacting attorney Douglas Wigdor, seeking to quietly settle litigation with Cassie and offering her the opportunity to avoid exposure to the allegations once the lawsuit was made public after the filing. This is what I was saying, guys. There is an important part of this lawsuit, and that's it. Because as terribly written as this is, he is basically saying, hey, I'm a victim too. And y'all are talking about settlement, but I need a little bit of a piece of this. And you know, Cassie got her settlement from Diddy. And he's like, well, you know, I'm going to put this out there unless I get a piece of that too. And then he is alleging that attorneys around him, including Tyrone Blackburn, who was representing him at the time, and I know that Tyrone is representing a lot of people in that orbit, right? So he's got his hands full. Now, he's saying to Tyrone, hey, man, I mean, like, I'm a victim too. We need to talk about this. And then he's alleging that government lawyers were like, oh, well, we could talk about it, but it's going to make her look really bad in the big federal case that we're coming, or that we have coming. This is so crazy, chat. I mean, oh my God. Oh my God. Let's keep going up. All right. Instead of Mr. Wigdor embracing, and Wigdor is Cassie's attorney, right? Wigdor embracing this opportunity to protect his client's image from allegations he knew to be true, he sought the assistance of the U.S. attorney to dissuade Tyrone from filing until the criminal trial of Diddy. This decision, although it protected Cassie's credibility before the trial, compromised Mr. Howard's legal action within the state of New York. Filing after trial would mean that Mr. Howard would lose his right to the action in the state of New York under the applicable statute being used at the time. A calculated and coordinated effort has been made to protect Cassie from criminal liability that can be established. In protecting Cassie, the civil rights of Mr. Howard and other potential victims of Cassie who may exist are entitled to civil action against her as their offender have been compromised. Cassie claims to have been forced, but despite all her alleged trauma, she willingly and intentionally victimized, manipulated, and harmed others. Mr. Howard is entitled to justice under the same laws that provide justice to Cassie. Mr. Diddy and Cassie should be held accountable for their actions jointly based on Mr. Howard's verified encounters and personal experiences and should not be minimized due to the alleged victimhood of Cassie. Based on the factual allegations above, Mr. Howard incorporates all facts as his basis for the causes of action listed below. Mr. Howard seeks the justice of this court to provide that which has been denied by those who seek to conceal the truth in order to protect false information provided by the defendants. There it is. There it is, chat. That is the very long narrative that comes from our friend wearing the feet sneakers. Okay. Now, that's his side of the story. And he filed this lawsuit while the Diddy trial was still in play. It had not come to a conclusion yet. So against what Tyrone told him, he didn't wait. He wrote it out. It's fucked up. There's a lot of legal mistakes in this document. But he tried. He's pro se. I mean, shit. You know, if you don't know, you don't know. But he is saying, and that's the other thing, right? Thank you, Mir. when you sign a legal document as an attorney, everything, it's called Rule 11. Where's my federal rules of not criminal procedure, civil procedure? I think it's Rule 11. With Rule 11, when you sign a document as a lawyer, you're basically signing it saying, hey, everything in here I have personally validated to be a true and honest fact. What that does is that it prevents frivolous lawsuits or bullshit lawsuits. That's why in this phase, the early phases, these lawsuits either get settled, crushed, they get thrown out, things like that. That's where we are. I'm not going to say where we are now because, again, Cassie filed a notice of appearance. He had been trying to serve her for months, and she filed a notice of appearance yesterday. So now the same people that arranged Cassie's settlement with the Diddy team, they entered a notice of appearance as the defense attorneys for this case. But they are also mentioned in this case, right? So plaintiff talks about all his causes of action. He wants sex trafficking against everybody here. I'm not going to go through all of that. He wants a civil remedy for human trafficking against all defendants. He wants a civil remedy for human trafficking again in California. So he has a federal one and then the state one, right? Fourth one, he wants a federal civil remedy for human trafficking. Again, he cites a different law. I think there's 7 altogether. Fifth, sexual assaults, California. He's used one of their rules here. California civil procedure against all defendants. What? Okay. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to skip that. Civil liability for violations in New York penal law. That looks like a proper site. But yeah, it has to be federal because you have New York and California. What about Florida? 7th cause of action, violation of New York state human rights law. I don't know if these are cited right. 8th, same thing. New York Services for Victims of Human Trafficking. So, okay, and then you get to the bottom. And what I really want to show y'all is that respectfully submitted, it's under Clayton. These should all be under the same side. This needs to go on his other side. I don't want to show his address for too long, but that's the document, man. Oh boy, that gave me a headache. Crossing of state lines, you guys are saying in the chat as I glance over there. Yeah, Clayton he's in here. And again, Cassie's team filed a notice of appearance. So they're, right here, filed yesterday. They're showing up. They're showing up, but this is in California. So we will see what happens. But man, oh man, what a wild ride that was. It really was. Like, Clayton's not playing. So, let me come to some super chats and I'm going to get out of here. We've been going for almost 3 hours. I've not gone live in a little bit. So I wanted to pop on here and show you what was going on. But this case is so crazy, chat. It really is. It really is. But again, he's in episode 3 of the Diddy documentary and has been a part of a lot of the news that we've been seeing all week, 2-minute approve. I think I left off over here. Thank you so much for gifting 20 AV memberships. Really appreciate you. I know you've been in and out, but we had to talk about this one. So I appreciate you gifting 20 memberships. Jay Kilman became a member. Welcome, Jay. You're going to love it here. We always have a great time. Lots of cases coming up. This Diddy thing has kind of been taking over my world for right now, but we have a lot of great stuff coming. Next week, we have Courtney Clenny's hearing on the 18th, and then we also have Afani Willis hearing on the 17th. It is alleged that she's going to show up to this one. I say alleged because she was going to show up to the last one, but she was in front of the Georgia Supreme Court seeing if she can keep dodging subpoenas, and they told her, I don't think we got a result yet. I checked this morning, but according to her attorney, she is going to be showing up on the 17th. So we got those two things. There's some YNW Melly movement, so I'm debating if we should do a trial rewatch at the start or end of December going into January, because it starts in January, but I need to do some more legal research on that one. But yeah, man, there's a lot going on. So Jay Kelman, you were, rejoining, because I recognize your picture. You're here at the right time. Inspirational Truth, thank you for the 5. Says finally caught alive. Hoo-wee. Go back with this one. I'm gonna have to chop this up for y'all so you know what's going on. Shout out to D with the 2, says Sodom and Gomorrah deviants. Listen, this one's a tough one, but it's like I'm reading it and I can hear him saying what he's saying in some of these interviews, right? But we're gonna see what shakes out. I'm curious about this one for sure, especially since the brother wrote it himself. Very curious. Our stream sponsored Little Gaming Channel. Thank you so much, TLGC. I hope you're having a wonderful holiday season. And since it's the end of the year, I really want to thank you for all the support that you've given me, in 2025. I've been doing this thing on my own, building this channel. I think we started the year at 40,000, 50,000 subs, and we've grown so much. I really wanted to close the year at 100, but I'm just happy with where we are. And I know you've sponsored so many trials that I've done on my own. This is the first year I'm really kind of doing it full time on my own. So I appreciate all the love and the support. I can't pay my editors or, the people that support me without y'all's help, So when you're watching, if you like, comment, or subscribe, and I know it's a tough season with this economy. So, for TLGC to drop 100 like that, it means so much. Everybody that's dropped a super chat, really, how many subscriptions do we all have? When you take some time to appreciate me and what I'm doing, it means the world. And TLGC sponsored that whole Fulio thing. Mama Fulio, we were supposed to record on Monday. I'm going to try to get her tomorrow. It's not going to be a live stream, guys. I'm going to start doing this Art of Dialogue thing where I have conversations with people and we release it out. She was supposed to come on Monday. For those that are interested in the Alicia Andrews Fulio trial, I did a video on stream on Monday going through the delay. That has been delayed because Jeremy came through on the weekend and was able to get the appeals court to take a second look at it and see if the judge should be disqualified from the case. So Alicia's got a few days, I would say less than a month, for them to look at it. I looked at the file Monday morning, and the prosecution team had filed a notice of appearance. So the clock starts for 15 days for them on the 8th. So 15 days from the 8th would put us, just looking at a calendar because I want to make sure I'm precise, 15 days from the 8th would put us on the 23rd, right before Christmas. And then Jeremy gets some time to respond, but it's Christmas week and New Year's week. We probably won't have a decision on Fulio until first week of January, I believe. That's my ballpark. But there's a lot going on with that one too. And the reason why I bring it up is because the Little Gaming Channel was the #1 sponsor for that trial. Other people have sponsored other ones. Huge shout out to Roy Williams. He had sponsored in TLGC too. A bunch of other people sponsored Karen Reed. She's starting a podcast. I got invited to their first kickoff party. That's pretty cool. I think I might go. We'll see. But thank you so much, TLGC. Corporate America, good to see you, sis. She's one of my faves. Hits me with the 5 and says, hey, AV and the aviators. The way I'm hollering, y'all are a mess. Chat's crazy. Every trial that we do this chat is just always, I let y'all rock out. Sometimes people are like, they're so mean over there. And we're like, nah, you get what you get. You get what you get. But I hope you're doing great, Erica, and I hope you're having a wonderful holiday season as well. Great to see you tonight. DW with the 5 says, have a great weekend, AV. Thank you so much. I hope you have one as well. All right, guys, I was actually gonna cook dinner. I think I still have time to cook it. Let me go make some food. A little HelloFresh box. This video is not sponsored by HelloFresh. I will put this in the description. Sometimes the ladies are like, hey, what lip gloss are you wearing? Stuff like that. Fenty Beauty has a great sale right now. All right, love Fenty, right? This color is, I think, called Inner Thigh. This is the traced out pencil. I think it's called Extra Thigh. All right. Shout out to Rihanna. This color is called Extra Thigh for the outline. And then you have Fenty Glow for the actual gloss lipstick. It's pretty cool. I like it so far. And it smells super fruity. Super fruity. So I will put that. I'm doing that all month long for anything y'all want. I'm just kind of including products that you have questions about. It's actually going to be included in the timestamps too. So if you see me talking about it and I hold it up, it should automatically pop up. So shout out to YouTube, right? Anywho, all right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go relax for the night. Thanks again for watching. Stay safe out there. We will have an episode 3 reaction to The Reckoning, an episode 4 reaction to The Reckoning, and things that they might have left out of the documentary. If you're watching this in the future, do me a favor. In the comment section, tell me what you think they left out of the documentary so we can include it in different videos or future videos. I love y'all so much. Thank you so much for the candle, Senator. Y'all have a good one. Stay safe out there. See you in the next one. Bye.